Chapter 1576. Needless to say, the expressions of everyone here were quite strange. Is Mu Xiaodao really from the Cosmos Court? As for the experts of the Cosmos Court, they were looking at Mu Xiaodao as well because they'd been shocked by what she'd said. Is that something a guardian of the universe would say? A sinner isn't guilty? Isn't that overturning the order of the universe? She's going to be incinerated. On the other hand, Yi Xian's face darkened. He was naturally aware of her little tricks. Actually, he admired her a little as well. She really knew how to be strong and cowardly at the same time. Yi Xian glanced at the green-clothed man but didn't speak. He knew that the green-clothed man was definitely aware of Mu Xiaodao's tricks. Everyone was looking at the green-clothed man, and it was up to the green-clothed man to decide whether to kill Mu Xiaodao or not. The green-clothed man suddenly gazed at Yi Xian and smiled. What do you think? Yi Xian fell silent. He knew what the green-clothed man meant. Actually, it was up to Yi Xian to decide whether to kill him or not. Everyone was looking at Yi Xian. Yi Xian glanced at the surroundings. There were countless corpses and blood all around him, and most of them belonged to the undying Emperor clan. Yi Xian's face was emotionless. Kill. Kill. Mu Xiaodao's expression instantly changed drastically when she heard Yi Xian, and she hurriedly said, "Everyone, retreat immediately." As soon as she finished speaking, the experts of the Cosmos Court retreated. The green-clothed man gazed at Yi Xian and smiled. "I can kill you. But you'll have to pay the price." As soon as he finished speaking, he opened his palm and a sword suddenly flew out. A moment later, heads started falling incessantly from the sky. These experts of the Cosmos Court were extremely strong, but they were being slaughtered like lambs at this moment. No one could stop that ray of light. The ray of sword light suddenly appeared in front of Mu Xiaodao. Mu Xiaodao's pupils suddenly constricted. She was about to attack, but the ray of sword light stopped. Then, the ray of sword light slashed towards the right, and a dozen heads flew out. Mu Xiaodao took Ma Yi and disappeared into the starry sky. The green-robed man looked at Yi Xian in the distance and said with a smile, "This girl is smart, you can deal with her yourself in the future." As he spoke, he opened his palm and the wisp of sword light returned to his hand. At this moment, countless heads slowly fell from the starry sky, and blood poured down like a torrential rain. It was extremely bloody. Yi Xian looked to the other side. The soldiers of the great Qing dynasty were still alive. There were 60 to 70,000 of them. The green-robed man did not kill them. These people were too weak for him. However, at this moment, these soldiers from the great Qing dynasty had already been surrounded by experts from the undead Emperor clan. The one leading them was none other than Marshal Mu Tian. Mu Tian looked at Yi Xian. "Young Master Yi, we've lost." Yi Xian nodded. "Then die." With that, he gently waved his right hand, and all the experts swarmed forward. Mu Tian glared at Yi Xian. "We are willing to surrender." Yi Xian shook his head. "There's no need." Mu Tian slowly closed his eyes. After a while, Mu Tian turned to look at the soldiers. At this moment, all the soldiers were looking at him. Marshal Mu Tian said softly, "You are not wrong. The one who is wrong is the Emperor. The one who is wrong is me. The one who is wrong is us being too weak." As he spoke, he suddenly pulled out the sword at his waist and roared, "Men of the great Qing dynasty, although we were not born on the same day, we can die on the same day. Kill." With that, he charged towards the experts from the undead Emperor clan. "Kill." Behind him, countless soldiers of the great Qing dynasty roared in unison. Very soon, heads started falling from the sky. Naturally, they were the soldiers of the great Qing dynasty. Without the help of the peak experts from the Cosmos God Court, they were no match for the undead Emperor clan. The difference in battle power was too great. Moreover, the undead Emperor clan had the absolute advantage in numbers. Massacre. It was a massacre. Very soon, the 60 to 70,000 soldiers all fell to the ground. Mu Tian was also at the very front. Mu Tian looked into the distance with a dazed expression. The reason why he had come here was to bring these soldiers back. However, he did not expect that all of them would die here. Blame the Cosmos God Court? He had no right to blame the Cosmos God Court. The great Qing dynasty owed the Cosmos God Court back then. Now, they were just paying back the debt. Weakness was the original sin. Whoever was weak would die. If the Undead Emperor clan was weak today, then the entire Undead Emperor clan would be massacred. At this moment, Dongli Zhan suddenly said, "Bury Mu Tian's corpse." Although they were enemies, these soldiers of the great Qing dynasty were very courageous. They were worthy of the respect of the Undead Emperor clan. Very soon, someone brought Mu Tian's corpse away. At this moment, the experts from the Undead Emperor clan looked at the green-clothed man in the distance. When they looked at the green-clothed man, some of the experts from the Undead Emperor clan had a trace of fear in their eyes. This green-clothed man's strength was too terrifying. At this moment, the green-clothed man suddenly raised his head and looked at the mysterious woman. The mysterious woman lowered her head slightly and did not speak. The green-clothed man smiled. "Do you hate me?" She shook her head. The green-clothed man spoke softly, "I'm sorry." Tears suddenly flowed from the mysterious woman's eyes. The green-clothed man walked over to the mysterious woman, grabbed her hand, and spoke softly, "Nan, Dongli Nan." That was the mysterious woman's name. Dongli Nan gazed at the green-clothed man. "I don't blame you." The green-clothed man laughed bitterly. "I never expected that woman to not tell you the truth and cause you to misunderstand." When he spoke up to this point, his head ached as well. That woman really did things her own way. Especially in the past, she wanted to stab anyone she saw to death. The mysterious woman shook her head. "I don't hate her at all." In the past, she had naturally hated that woman. But now, she didn't hate her at all. On the contrary, she was very grateful to her. Because if it wasn't for her, then Yi Xian would have died countless times over. The green-clothed man smiled. "Go look for me." The mysterious woman turned around to look at Yi Xian. She hesitated for a moment before she spoke softly. "I want to accompany him." The green-clothed man thought for a moment and nodded. "All right." As he spoke, he looked at Yi Xian who was nearby. "Shall the three of us take a walk?" Yi Xian nodded. At this moment, the horned little girl followed them. She took out a candied hawthorn and licked it. She stomped her right foot lightly, and she seemed to be quite frivolous. The little white fellow flew onto the green-clothed man's shoulder. Just like that, the family walked off into the distance. The green-clothed man suddenly smiled. "Do you hate me?" Yi Xian said with a smile, "I can't defeat you." The green-clothed man laughed. "In that case, if you can beat me, then you're going to beat me up?" Yi Xian shrugged and didn't speak. The green-clothed man patted Yi Xian's shoulder lightly and said softly, "I was much more miserable than you were back then." Yi Xian glanced at the green-clothed man. "How miserable?" The green-clothed man smiled. "It's all in the past." As he spoke, he glanced at Dong Linan who was beside him. "Don't hate your mother. If you want to blame someone, blame that woman." Yi Xian asked, "Qing'er?" The green-clothed man nodded. "That woman. It's really hard to explain. If she had explained it back then, everything would have been fine. Everyone says that I'm crazy. I feel that she's the crazy one. Moreover, she's an abnormal crazy one." Dong Linan shook his head. "There's nothing else." The green-clothed man shook his head. "Let's not talk about her." As he spoke, he looked at Yi Xian. "Are you curious why she and I didn't go directly to the Cosmos God Court?" Yi Xian hesitated for a moment and said, "To train me?" The green-clothed man smiled. "That must be the reason. Another important reason is that the law of the universe isn't in the Cosmos God Court. She and I went our separate ways. She was searching for the law of the universe while I was searching for the mysterious person in your body. To solve the problem of your body, the first is to solve the law of the universe. The second is to find out the origin of the mysterious person in your body and kill him from the root." In other words, we have to cut off his past life, present life and future life. This way, he can completely cut off his connection with you. Yi Xian said in a deep voice, do you have any clues? The green-clothed man shook his head, not yet. However, I'm checking one by one. I won't let any of the top experts go. Whether they are in the legends or still alive, I won't let any of them go. Yi Xian hesitated for a moment and said, did you meet anyone you can't beat? The green-clothed man smiled, I don't think so. Yi Xian, the green-clothed man continued, the law of the universe is quite troublesome. The problem is that they are too good at hiding. Even if she and I work together, we can't find where they are hiding. However, they are everywhere. It's very strange. There is a way to find them, and that is to destroy the universe. The universe is where they depend on. If the universe is destroyed, they will definitely appear. However, this is too heartless. Although I'm not a good person, I really can't do such an inhumane thing. However, at this point, he looked at Yi Xian, she almost did that back then. But fortunately, because of you, this universe is a little more pleasing to her eyes. Otherwise, she would have gone crazy and massacred the universe. Yi Xian, Dong Linen said softly, she probably loves me and my dog. The green-clothed man nodded and looked at Yi Xian, there is only one reason why she and I didn't take action in the Cosmos God Court. That is, we hoped that you could solve it yourself. However, just now, you made me take action. Since I helped you solve the problem in front of you, you have to pay the price. Are you ready? Yi Xian hurriedly said, isn't it natural for a father to help his son? The green-clothed man smiled, you are right, but I am still a little unhappy. Back then, I was so miserable. Why did you live so comfortably? Let me tell you, this is the last time we help you. In the future, don't expect me or my old friends to help you. As the price for helping you this time, I have decided to seal all your cultivation and bloodline. As his voice fell, he slapped Yi Xian's shoulder and a wisp of sword chi directly entered Yi Xian's body. Boom! In an instant, Yi Xian's cultivation was directly suppressed, and the two bloodlines instantly became silent. Yi Xian rolled his eyes. F***ck me. Can I change my father? After saying that, he directly fainted. P.S. The most handsome man in the world, who else but me can do it? Chapter 1577. After Yi Xian fainted, Dong Linen hurriedly held him. Dong Linen's eyes were filled with tenderness as she looked at Yi Xian in her arms. All these years, she had owed Yi Xian too much. Especially towards the end, she had almost caused Yi Xian's death. The azure-robed man suddenly looked at Tu and Nian Nian in the distance. His gaze fell on Nian Nian, and he smiled, Miss, your swordsmanship has reached the peak of the mortal realm. Do you wish to improve? Nian Nian nodded, please enlighten me. The azure-robed man opened his palm, and a ray of white light suddenly entered between Mu Niannian's eyebrows. In the next moment, a map appeared in Mu Niannian's mind. The azure-robed man said, Miss, you can go there. Mu Niannian looked at Yi Xian. The azure-robed man smiled, his path should be taken by himself. Mu Niannian was silent. The azure-robed man continued, there are many things that he must face by himself. Outsiders' help is not a good thing for him. Moreover, if you continue to help him, you will inevitably be targeted by the universal laws. With your current strength, you cannot contend against the universal laws. Mu Niannian looked at Yi Xian again, and she nodded slightly, I understand. Saying that, she looked at Tu, together. Tu looked at Yi Xian below, and was silent. The azure-robed man smiled, let him walk the rest of the path by himself. Tu said softly, you want his swordsmanship to improve? The azure-robed man nodded, not only that, there is an opportunity over there that I hope he can obtain. Of course, whether he can obtain it or not will depend on himself. I will not force him. Tu looked at Yi Xian for a long time, and then turned to Mu Niannian, let's go. Mu Niannian nodded, and soon, the two women turned into a ray of sword light and disappeared into the starry sky. After the two women left, the azure-robed man turned to the undying imperial clan's patriarch, Dongli Jing. Dongli Jing looked at the azure-robed man, and did not speak. The green-robed man suddenly laughed and said, "As a person, I repay kindness with kindness and take revenge with enmity." As he spoke, he opened his palm, and 3 sword rays suddenly flew toward Higashi Yasushi. Higashi Yasushi glanced at the 3 sword rays. "What are these?" The green-clothed man said, "Back then, I killed the final trump card of the undying imperial clan. Now, I will give you all a trump card." After a moment of silence, Higashi Yasushi shook his head. "No need." The green-clothed man was slightly startled. Dongli Jing continued, "This is a trump card, but it will also make the people of our undying imperial clan feel reliant on it. I do not wish for my clansmen to become reliant on me. In the future, my undying imperial clan will not have an ancestor, and will not have an extremely powerful trump card. If we're talking about trump cards, then the undead clan is our trump card." On the battlefield, countless experts from the undying emperor clan suddenly roared in unison. The undying emperor clan is invincible. At this moment, all of the undying imperial clan members were roaring angrily. The undying emperor clan did not need the protection of others. Higashi Kei looked at the green-robed man and said, "Thank you for your kindness." The green-robed man nodded slightly. "All right." As he spoke, he waved his right hand lightly, and the 3 strands of sword chi disappeared. By the side, Dongli Nan sighed in his heart. She knew that the undying imperial clan could accept Yi Xian. However, towards the green-robed man, it could not be said that they hated him. It could only be said that the undying imperial clan could not accept his protection. Pride. Although the undying imperial clan could not compare to the Cosmos God Court, and even less compared to the green-robed man, this clan still had their own pride. The green-robed man looked at Yi Xian in front of him. He opened his palm, and the ancient shield in front of Yi Xian instantly flew into his hand. "This chapter is not finished, please continue to the next page." Then, he passed the ancient shield to Little White. Little White blinked, then pointed at the unconscious Yi Xian. The green-robed man shook his head, "He doesn't need it." The little white fellow hesitated for a moment, then kept the ancient shield. The green-robed man looked at Yi Xian. He pointed his finger in front of him, and the space there directly split apart. The green-robed man laughed, I'm going to send him away." Dong Linen hurriedly asked, "To where?" The green-robed man smiled, "To a very, very far place. There, he will no longer have any helpers. If he wants to survive, he can only rely on himself." Dong Linen frowned, "He doesn't have any trump cards at all?" The green-robed man laughed lightly, "What trump cards does he need? He is going there to grow, not to act cool." Just as Dong Linen was about to speak, the green-robed man said seriously, "He has to become stronger. There are many things that he can only rely on himself in the future." Dong Linen asked, "Mysterious person?" The green-robed man nodded, "While I was searching, I discovered some strange things. I can only say that the other party is not simple. And now, he is too weak." Dong Linen went silent for a moment, then nodded, "All right." The green-robed man looked at Yi Xian. He pointed with his finger, and a ray of sword light dragged Yi Xian directly into the pitch-black spatial crack. In an instant, that ray of sword light tore through countless star fields with Yi Xian. On the battlefield, Dong Linen wanted to say something, but stopped. The green-robed man looked at Dong Linen, "If he follows you, with your protection, he will become more and more useless. Let him go and temper himself." Dong Linen said solemnly, "The laws of the universe." The green-robed man laughed, "They don't dare to show themselves." Dong Linen said again, "The Cosmos God Court." The green-robed man laughed, "He will deal with it himself." Dong Linen shook his head, "He is too young." The green-robed man laughed, "If he is always protected, he will never truly grow. He has to walk his own path step by step, and now, there is not much time left for him. Tian Ming and I cannot protect him forever." Moreover, if he stays in the Undying Emperor clan, he will bring a true calamity upon you. Dong Linan looked at the green-robed man. What rank does the Undying Emperor clan belong in this universe? The green-robed man shook his head. Nothing. Hearing this, Dong Linan slowly clenched his fists. The green-robed man laughed. Nan, see you in the future. As he spoke, he, the little girl, and the little white fellow gradually became illusory. Dong Linan looked at the green-robed man. Live well. The green-robed man laughed. Don't worry, the one who will kill me has not been born yet. As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared. The little white fellow and the little girl also disappeared along with him. Dong Linan looked into the depths of the starry sky, her gaze gradually becoming infatuated. At this moment, Dong Linan suddenly said, "Third sister, what are your plans?" Dong Linan said softly, "I want to stay in the Undying Emperor clan and cultivate." Dong Linan nodded. That is exactly what I wanted. As she spoke, she looked into the depths of the starry sky. I wonder where that little fellow was teleported to. Dong Linan looked into the depths of the starry sky, her eyes filled with worry. Xian, is so kind and honest. I wonder how much he will suffer if he goes to an unfamiliar environment. At the side, Dong Linan kept shaking his head. Honest? She really couldn't tell. This chapter is not finished. Please continue to the next page, since when has Yi Xian been honest? This fellow is the most dishonest. After a while, the Undying Emperor clan started to clean up the battlefield. In this battle, although the Undying Emperor clan had sacrificed many people, they had also gained a lot. This time, the surviving experts of the Undying Emperor clan would become even stronger. Other than that, the Undying Emperor clan had also obtained many spoils of war, especially the treasures left behind by the Cosmos God Court. On the other side, somewhere in the starry sky suddenly tore apart. The next moment, two women walked out. It was Mu Xiaodao and the hemp-clothed woman. Out of all the experts of the Cosmos God Court, only the two of them had escaped, and this was because the green-robed man had shown mercy. After coming out, the hemp-clothed woman's expression was extremely ugly, while Mu Xiaodao heaved a sigh of relief. The hemp-clothed woman suddenly looked at Mu Xiaodao. Are you that afraid of death? In order to live, you actually lowered your head to the evil forces. Mu Xiaodao shook his head. You really are a blockhead. The hemp-clothed woman stared angrily at Mu Xiaodao. Am I not? Mu Xiaodao suddenly raged. Am I your mother? Can you not be so stupid? Did you not see how strong that man is? He is only a clone, yet he could instantly kill the seventh sword. Are you going to fight him? Fight your mother. You idiot. Can't you just stop thinking about cultivation and watch more palace fights in the secular world? This old lady is going to die from anger. The hemp-clothed woman raged. Just because you can't win, you surrender? Mu Xiaodao sighed softly. Do you know how many of us have died this time? Big sister, do you know? Their deaths are really meaningless. All of them died for nothing. Including you, you have the guts to fight him head-on, but is there any meaning? Besides sending yourself to death, there is no meaning at all. As she said this, she looked at the hemp-clothed woman with disappointment. The other party has already cheated. You still foolishly went to fight him. You are really a retard. The hemp-clothed woman's expression was extremely gloomy. Mu Xiaodao added, Don't be angry. That man's strength is obviously not at our level. Isn't it normal to lose to such a person? The hemp-clothed woman looked at Mu Xiaodao. You are quite open-minded. Mu Xiaodao said calmly, the moment that man appeared, we should have retreated. Unfortunately, everyone still had to fight him. If we had retreated from the start, perhaps many of us could have survived. The hemp-clothed woman looked at Mu Xiaodao. You should not question the laws of the universe. Mu Xiaodao chuckled. Do sinners with disaster bodies really deserve to die? The hemp-clothed woman stared at Mu Xiaodao. You are questioning the laws of the universe again. Mu Xiaodao chuckled. Ma-yi, we are the guardians of the universe, but we are not tools, nor are we slaves. Faith is fine, but blind faith cannot be. As she said this, she turned to look at the star field behind her, softly said, This time, many people have died. The hemp-clothed woman said angrily, why did he become a disaster body? Because his father and sister killed too many people, and went against the laws and order of the universe. Now that order has collapsed, whose fault is it? It is their family's fault. As long as he is alive, order cannot be restored, do you understand? Mu Xiaodao nodded, I understand. The hemp-clothed woman glared at Mu Xiaodao, then you still question the laws of the universe, and for them, Mu Xiaodao suddenly said, we can't beat them. The hemp-clothed woman was stunned. Mu Xiaodao looked at the hemp-clothed, I am not going to reason with you. Let's talk about something practical. We can't beat them now, do you understand? The hemp-clothed woman was silent. End of this chapter. Chapter 1578. I can't beat him. This is the core of the problem. Mu Xiaodao suddenly said, go back. With that, she turned and left. Ma Yi looked at Mu Xiaodao, go back to the Cosmos God Court? Mu Xiaodao said, go back and wait for that Sky King Palace fella. See what she is going to do. Also, don't meddle in these things without the orders of the laws of the universe. Your brain is too simple. You will be easily betrayed. As she spoke, she had already disappeared. Ma Yi was silent for a long time before turning and leaving. Somewhere in the depths of the starry sky, there was a huge hall. Sky King Palace. This was the first hall under the Cosmos God Court. The palace was several hundred zhang tall, standing tall in the starry sky like a huge beast, instilling fear in the hearts of those who looked at it. There were tens of thousands of bluestone steps in front of the hall. At this moment, a woman was walking slowly on the stone steps. The woman was wearing a loose white dress. Her cloud-like hair was draped over her back. It was very long, reaching her hips. The woman was very beautiful, beautiful enough to make the entire starry sky pale in comparison. This woman was the famous war king Wuxia of the Cosmos God Court. The woman walked slowly and soon, she came to the entrance of the hall and pushed it open. The hall was empty, not a single person was inside. The woman came to a statue. If Yi Xian was here, he would be shocked. This was because the statue looked exactly like him. The woman looked at the statue and after a long time, she took out a small wooden statue. The statue looked like a little girl and looked very similar to her. Obviously, this was when she was young. The woman was silent for a long time before closing her eyes. Is it you? At this moment, a hunchback old man appeared outside the hall and said hoarsely, King Wu, I have found out. The woman looked at the small wooden statue in her hand. Speak. The hunchback old man spoke slowly. It was all about Yi Xian. The hunchback old man spoke for a full hour and even the smallest things were explained in detail. After the hunchback old man finished, the woman squinted her eyes. He knows how to carve? The hunchback old man nodded, yes. As he spoke, he hesitated for a moment before he said, is it the person young miss is looking for? The woman slowly closed her eyes. It should be. The hunchbacked old man lowered his head slightly. Miss, he is a sinner with a body of disaster. The woman opened her eyes and said expressionlessly, the reason why I joined the Cosmos God Court was because I wanted to use the resources of the Cosmos God Court to find him. Otherwise, what qualifications does the Cosmos God Court have for me to join? The hunchbacked old man said nothing. The woman suddenly asked, where is he now? The hunchbacked old man said, he should be in the demon domain. The woman said, I'll go see him. As she finished speaking, she turned around and left. When she reached the entrance of the great hall, she suddenly stopped. Is there any movement from the heavenly court? The hunchbacked old man shook his head. Not yet. However, I've learned that the contenders from the Void Zone are already on their way back. They might have received orders from the divine court. The woman asked again, what about the laws of the universe? The hunchbacked old man shook his head again. There's no news at all. The woman nodded slightly and disappeared. In the hall, the hunchbacked old man sighed softly. Yi Xian slowly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, he felt a splitting headache. Yi Xian hurriedly sat up. He held his head with both hands and shook it for a long time. When his head was no longer so dizzy, he scanned his surroundings. This time, he was stunned. At this moment, he was in a dilapidated straw hut. His hands and legs were tied with heavy metal chains. What happened to him? Yi Xian scanned his surroundings. Around him, there were still some corpses. They were all human corpses. Yi Xian suddenly lifted his head and looked into the distance. There was a huge stone house there. A group of people was sitting in front of the stone house. These people looked 90% similar to humans. The only difference was that these people had purple eyes. Demon domain. The first thing that came to Yi Xian's mind was the demon domain. This was because he had read some ancient texts in the Undying Emperor tribe. The demon domain was inhabited by demons. These people were exactly the same as the demons described in the ancient texts. Why did that man send him to the demon domain? Could it be that he wanted him to unify the demon domain? This was a little unrealistic. Yi Xian collected his thoughts. He looked at the metal chains on his hands. Very quickly, he discovered that his cultivation had been sealed. Within his body, he could not circulate a single bit of Xian energy. Not only that, even his 2 bloodlines had been sealed. Most importantly, Xiao Ta and the World Prison Pagoda had also been sealed. Other than his fleshly body, there was nothing else. Very clearly, the green-robed man did not go all out. If his fleshly body was destroyed, then he would really be done for. At this moment, a demon suddenly walked over with a hammer. When he saw Yi Xian, this demon suddenly shouted angrily, "Lowly human, you dare to look at me directly." As he spoke, he directly swung his hammer towards Yi Xian's head. Yi Xian suddenly leaped up and directly kneed that demon's chin. Boom! That demon's head directly exploded and blood splattered everywhere. Yi Xian fiercely spat to the side and angrily scolded, "Motherfucker, I am a dignified son of the 9th dimension universe. How can I let you guys bully me?" As he spoke, he suddenly exerted strength in his hands and the chains on his body directly exploded. At this moment, those demons in the distance all rushed towards Yi Xian. However, he was stopped by an older devil cultivator. That old demon stared fixedly at Yi Xian. "Human, you dare to kill demons. You will receive the world's most cruel torture, you." Yi Xian rushed up and slapped him. Pa! That old demon was directly slapped out of the 100 Clans territory. When he smashed onto the ground, his body twitched for a moment and then no longer moved. The remaining devil dwellers were all stunned. Yi Xian glanced at those remaining demons and they immediately turned and ran. Yi Xian directly rushed out and very quickly, those dozen or so demons were killed by him. Yi Xian looked around. This place was somewhat remote, like a small tribe. After a moment, Yi Xian walked towards a stone city in the distance. On the way, Yi Xian analyzed this devil domain. From the attitude of those few demons towards him, this human's position in this devil domain was clearly very low, just that he did not know to what extent. After walking for a while, Yi Xian tried to use his sword but he was unable to use Xian Qi. More accurately, he had no Xian Qi to use. He was now a body cultivator. Other than his fleshly body, there was no other power he could use. As if he thought of something, Yi Xian suddenly slapped his forehead. "Damn it! I actually forgot about the little girl's blood." When he was in the Immortal Emperor clan, he did not devour the little girl's blood because he wanted his fleshly body to reach the God realm, then use the little girl's blood to reach the eternal realm. However, before he could reach the God realm, the Cosmos God Court came. Therefore, his fleshly body was currently only at the consolidation realm. Yi Xian was filled with regret. Now that Xiao Ta was sealed, he could not obtain the little girl's blood at all. If he wanted to improve his fleshly body again, it could be said to be extremely difficult. He had to think of a way to return. No. Yi Xian seemed to have thought of something and suddenly stopped. In the 9 dimensions, he had asked the patriarch Dongli Jing, and at that time, Dongli Jing had said that even if it was him, to reach the devil domain, he would need at least 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 years. What kind of concept was that? Moreover, his current cultivation was sealed. Even if he wanted to use sword flight, he could not. From here, even 300 years would not be enough. F***ck. Yi Xian suddenly could not help but curse. They couldn't go back at all. At this time, Yi Xian suddenly stopped because he had arrived in front of the ancient city. Looking up, Yi Xian saw 3 large words above the city gate, Mengju City. Just as Yi Xian was about to enter, he suddenly turned around and looked. Not far away, a group of demonic people riding creatures that looked like wolf demons slowly walked over. This group of demonic people wore armor, and it was obvious that they were soldiers. And behind this group of soldiers, there were several iron cages. Within the iron cages, there were all humans, men and women, about 30 people. Seeing this scene, Yi Xian frowned. Were the humans in this place so bad? At this time, the group of demonic people also saw Yi Xian. When they saw Yi Xian, the demonic people were slightly stunned. There was actually a human here? What's more, he was standing here so openly. The people within the iron cages were looking at Yi Xian as well. Some of their eyes were filled with curiosity, and some were filled with ridicule. Suddenly, the demonic person in the lead rode a demon beast over to Yi Xian, and he looked down at Yi Xian. Kneel. Kneel? Yi Xian was instantly infuriated when he heard that. Yi Xian didn't say a word and directly kicked the demonic person. Before the demonic person could even react, his head was kicked away by Yi Xian. All the demonic people and humans were stunned. Suddenly, one of the demonic people recovered from his shock, and he pointed angrily at Yi Xian. You lowly human, you. Yi Xian suddenly picked up a rock from the ground and smashed it. Bang! The demonic person was directly smashed by the rock, and his head instantly exploded. However, Yi Xian didn't stop. He leaped up and charged towards the group of demonic people. His speed was extremely swift, and he was like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. He pounced towards one of the demonic people and smashed his fist towards the demonic person's throat. Crack! The demonic person's throat was pierced through, and blood sprayed everywhere. Meanwhile, Yi Xian suddenly vanished on the spot. In next to no time, all the demonic people were lying on the ground, and they died horrible deaths. Because Yi Xian had used his fists. His fists weren't as handsome as his sword, but they were extremely violent. Yi Xian walked over to the iron cages, and he just smashed a few of his fists with his fists, causing the iron chains to be broken. Yi Xian gazed at the humans before him. All of you are free. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned around and left. As if he'd thought of something, he said, all of you can follow me. He felt that he should save them to the end because their strengths were very low. So, if he didn't save them to the end, then they would definitely be killed. Because if he killed these demonic people, then the other demonic people would definitely not let them off. So, he had to be responsible to the end. At this moment, a human fatty suddenly rushed in front of Yi Xian, and pointed angrily at Yi Xian. Who needs your help? Yi Xian was somewhat dumbfounded. The fatty looked at Yi Xian with hatred, and roared angrily. When they brought us, they would at most torture us, and then make us their slaves. But now that you've saved us, they'll kill us. It's all your fault, you idiot, you. Yi Xian suddenly slapped the fatty's face. Pa! The fatty directly fell to the ground. He didn't die, but his face was disfigured. Then, under everyone's gaze, Yi Xian dragged the fatty to the front of an iron cage. He threw the fatty into the iron cage, and then locked the iron chains. Yi Xian looked at the fatty. I'm sorry, I didn't know you liked to be a slave. It's my fault. I shouldn't have saved you. As soon as he finished speaking, he stood up and left. At this moment, a human girl suddenly said in a trembling voice, "You. Who are you? Who am I?" Yi Xian blinked and said, "Have you heard of the Cosmos God Court?" The little girl shook her head. Yi Xian said seriously, "I'm the founder of the Universe God Court." God Yi. Do you know the laws of the universe? The little girl shook her head. Yi Xian said seriously, "There are a total of 9 universal laws. I created them to protect the universe. However, after they became stronger, they joined hands to kill me. I'm reincarnating right now. Do you understand?" The little girl. P.S. There's a problem that's been bothering me for a long time. It's that I'm too handsome. Being handsome was really a problem. A lot of girls pounced on me when they saw me. I'm really, really annoyed. I can't take it anymore. Almighty readers. May I ask how to solve this problem? Chapter 1579. Mengju City. Yi Xian led the 30-plus people into Mengju City. The 30-plus people were panicking and could only follow Yi Xian. In the devil domain, humans were slaves and could only be enslaved by the devils. But now, this person in front of them had killed the devils. Those devils would definitely not let them off. If they followed Yi Xian, they might be able to survive. When they walked into Mengju City, Yi Xian's group attracted the attention of all the devils. Humans? All the demons stared at Yi Xian, who was the leader. Yi Xian suddenly glanced at the surrounding devils and cursed, "What are you looking at? If you're not satisfied, then come and fight me." All the devils were stunned. F***ck. So arrogant. At this moment, one of the devils suddenly charged in front of Yi Xian. He was about to speak when Yi Xian suddenly charged forward and punched him in the head. Bang! That devil's head exploded and blood splattered everywhere. All the demonic humans were stunned. As for the humans behind Yi Xian, they were also stunned. This human was so strong. Yi Xian continued forward. He would not be reasonable or merciful in this place. The status of humans in this place was very low. To reason with the devils? The other party would not listen at all. Fists were the most direct. At this moment, more and more devils surrounded Yi Xian's group. When these devils looked at Yi Xian's group, their eyes were filled with killing intent. At this moment, a group of soldiers suddenly charged from afar. There were hundreds of them. The leader was a middle-aged man holding a large machete. When he arrived in front of Yi Xian's group, the middle-aged man stared at Yi Xian and was about to speak when Yi Xian slapped his face. Pa! Before anyone could react, the middle-aged man fell to the ground. However, he did not die. Obviously, Yi Xian had shown mercy. Yi Xian directly stepped on the middle-aged man's chest. "Come, tell me where this place is." The middle-aged man glared at Yi Xian, his eyes filled with hatred. Lowly human. Yi Xian suddenly kicked him hard. Boom! The middle-aged man was directly crushed by this stomp. The devils in the surroundings were instantly terrified. This middle-aged man was the strongest warrior in their city, but he was killed just like that. Yi Xian led the remaining people into the city. Along the way, no devil dwellers dared to make a move. In next to no time, Yi Xian arrived at the city governor's estate with over 30 people. At this moment, there were already hundreds of devil dweller soldiers gathered in front of the estate. The leader was a rather fat devil cultivator. Obviously, this was the city lord. The fat city lord looked at Yi Xian. "Who is it?" Yi Xian suddenly disappeared, and in the next moment, the fat city lord's throat was grabbed by a hand. It was Yi Xian's hand. Seeing that the city lord was subdued in one move, all the devil dwellers were stunned. Yi Xian looked at the fat city lord. "Order all the humans in the city to be released. Also, I want to know what kind of place Dao Yi is." The fat city lord quickly nodded and said with a trembling voice, Quickly release all the slaves." Yi Xian brought the fat city lord into the city governor's estate. In the courtyard, Yi Xian sat on a stone bench. In front of him was the fat city lord. At this moment, the fat city lord was introducing this world to Yi Xian. After a long time, Yi Xian had a general understanding of this devil domain. This devil domain was divided into 4 realms, namely the upper realm, devil realm, yuan realm, and the boundary realm. The 4 realms each had their own governance. It was worth mentioning that although the 4 realms each had their own governance, they all believed in the great devil lord. A very, very long time ago, the entire infernal realm was actually unified. At that time, the strongest person in the infernal realm, the demon lord, was the master of the entire infernal realm. However, the demon lord disappeared for some unknown reason, so the infernal realm was divided into 4. Even so, the devil dwellers of the 4 realms still believed in the great devil lord. Right now, he was in the devil domain. Of course, his current location was very remote. Yi Xian was silent. If he wanted to go back, he had to go to Demon City because there was a high possibility that there was a star field transmission array there. Of course, it was only a possibility, he was not sure. In fact, he was a little puzzled now. He wondered why the man in green sent him here. Was it really just to train him? Or was he here to save humanity? He had to say that the status of humans in this place was really low. No, they had no status at all. The humans here were born to be slaves and had no status at all. Their lives were too miserable. Yi Xian shook his head. Fortunately, this devil domain was far from the 9th dimension. Otherwise, the 2 sides would not be friendly. Yi Xian stood up and left. He arrived at the entrance of the governor's mansion. At this moment, there were already tens of thousands of humans gathered there. They were all human slaves that were released from the city. At this moment, all the human slaves were looking at Yi Xian. Their eyes were filled with curiosity and confusion. Yi Xian glanced at the human beings there and sighed inwardly. He felt that things were a little troublesome. There was no fighting spirit in the eyes of these humans. The slave imprint had already been deeply ingrained in their minds. How could he save them? Yi Xian felt a headache coming on. Was he going to declare war on the entire devil domain just because of Dao Yi? He was very clear that he did not have that much power. The devil domain was definitely not any weaker than the Immortal Emperor clan in the 9th dimension. Wanting to fight against the entire infernal domain with one's strength alone, this was something impossible. But would these people in front of him give up just like that? He was very clear that he had killed the devil dwellers. If he left, the humans here would be miserable. Thinking of this, Yi Xian sighed and said, "Do you have anything you want to say?" Below, no one spoke. Yi Xian hesitated and said, "Do you want to be free?" At this moment, a man walked out and looked at Yi Xian. "Yes." Yi Xian looked at the man and smiled. "What's your name?" The man looked at Yi Xian. "Ling Yan." Yi Xian nodded. "From now on, these people are under my control." Ling Yan directly knelt down. "Please teach us martial arts." Among the group of humans, many also knelt down. To change their fate, they must learn martial arts. And in the past, humans were not qualified to learn martial arts. Yi Xian nodded. "Okay." At this moment, a man suddenly said, "We must go to the human domain." Human domain? Yi Xian frowned. "Is there such a place?" The man quickly nodded. "Yes. I heard that there are only humans in the human domain, and there are no devil dwellers. There, humans are not slaves." Yi Xian turned around to look at the fat city governor, and the latter spoke with a trembling voice. "The human domain does exist. There is an extremely formidable human protecting it and passing down martial arts." Yi Xian was stunned, and then he said softly, "Could it be the ancestor of the Daoist faction?" He had heard from Dongli Jing that the ancestor of the Daoist faction had come to the demon domain. When he thought up to this point, he asked, "How far is the human domain from here?" The fat city governor hesitated for a moment, and then he said, "At least a month." However, if you go to Sky Capital City, then you can reach the human domain at the fastest speed possible because there is a teleportation formation there. Meanwhile, Ling Yan suddenly spoke angrily, "They are trying to kill us." The fat city governor glanced at Ling Yan and remained silent. Yi Xian said, "There are even more devil dwellers there, right?" Ling Yan nodded and spoke in a low voice, "Yes. There are many devil dwellers there. However, there is indeed a teleportation formation there." Yi Xian nodded, and then he gazed at the fat city governor. "Summon all the tamed demon beasts in the city." The fat city governor didn't dare refuse, and he immediately sent a soldier over. It didn't take long for all the tamed demon beasts to be summoned over. Yi Xian gazed at the humans before him. "Everyone, get on your horses and head to Sky Capital City." Ling Yan hesitated for a moment, and then he said, "Over there." Yi Xian smiled, "It's fine." When he saw how confident Yi Xian was, Ling Yan didn't hesitate any longer, and he turned around to look at the humans and roared furiously, "Get on all the demon beasts. Head to Sky Capital City." However, no one moved. Ling Yan said furiously, "Those that don't leave can stay here and wait for death." The humans finally moved when they heard this. In next to no time, Yi Xian led the group out of Mistshire City and headed straight for Sky Capital City. When he saw Yi Xian and the others leave, the fat city governor quickly took out a transmission stone. Outside the city, Ling Yan glanced at Yi Xian who stood by his side, and he hesitated for a moment before he said, "We should kill the city governor in the city. Otherwise, he'll notify us." Yi Xian smiled, "It's fine." Ling Yan nodded lightly and didn't speak another word. All he could do now was trust this human before him. Because he had no other choice. Right at this moment, the ground in the distance suddenly trembled, and then a group of cavalries dashed over swiftly from afar. Demonkin cavalries. All the humans here instantly panicked when they saw this group of cavalries. Countless people were terrified to the point they fell off their demon beasts. Ling Yan suddenly roared furiously, "Calm down." However, those people weren't calm at all. Some of them even started running around while others were terrified to the point their legs had turned to jelly. Right at this moment, a man suddenly pointed at Yi Xian and roared furiously, It's all. We weren't supposed to die. But now, we're going to die." Countless people looked at Yi Xian when they heard this, and then they started to complain about Yi Xian. It's all his fault. If it wasn't for him, we would still be in the city. Although our lives would be tough, we wouldn't have died. It's all his fault. I don't want to die. Ah. It's all his fault. Ah. He sent us back. We're finished. I shouldn't have come out. Many people looked at Yi Xian with resentment. Yi Xian remained silent. At this moment, he finally understood something. Humans. They could only save themselves. Meanwhile, Lin Yan slashed with his saber, and the man who spoke first was stabbed to death. Ling Yan glanced at the surroundings and said furiously, "He saved us." One of the men said furiously, "See that? There are over 10,000 Demonkin cavalries. Can he defeat them? He can't defeat them at all. We'll be cut to death by the Demonkin." Another man said furiously, "He's not saving us, he's harming us." Ling Yan was about to speak when Yi Xian patted his shoulder. Ling Yan looked at Yi Xian and said, "I'm not afraid of death." Yi Xian smiled, "I know." As he spoke, he walked to the side with Ling Yan. He looked at the group of humans and smiled, "Those who want to live can come behind me." The group of humans looked at Yi Xian and no one moved. At this moment, the man who was the leader shouted, "Don't believe him, he can't defeat so many Demonkin. If we beg for mercy, the Demonkin will definitely let us go. Because they need slaves, we have so many slaves, we can help them do many things, they won't kill us." Hearing the man's words, the group of humans were moved. At this moment, a little girl slowly ran in front of Yi Xian. That little girl was the one Yi Xian saved outside the city. The little girl looked up at Yi Xian, hesitated for a moment, then said, "I believe you." As she spoke, she paused, then said, "Brother God Yi, can I join Cosmos Palace? I want to follow you." Yi Xian was speechless. At this moment, the group of Demonkin cavalry had already arrived in front of them. The man leading the group suddenly led the group of people behind him and ran to the front of the Demonkin cavalry. The man hurriedly led the group to kneel down. The man pointed angrily at Yi Xian in the distance. No one knew what he was saying. The other humans also kowtowed and begged for mercy. Chapter 1580. The leader became more and more agitated as he spoke. In the end, it was as if Yi Xian had killed his parents. He wanted to eat Yi Xian's flesh and drink Yi Xian's blood. Seeing this scene, Yi Xian was speechless. He was not angry, because he understood human nature. At the same time, he knew that he had done a very stupid thing. He, Yi Xian, was not a savior. These people did not need his help. It was just like how Qing'er did not save the fifth dimension. Did she really not have the strength? She had it. But she did not want to save them. Because she understood human nature. If the people of the fifth dimension did not change, no one could save them. Humans continuously courting death in the vast universe would eventually be punished by the universe. At this moment, a demonic cavalryman in the distance suddenly raised his blade. Chi! The man who spoke was directly cut in half. Blood and internal organs splattered all over the ground. The other humans were dumbfounded. At this moment, the commander of the demonic cavalrymen suddenly said, "Kill." As his voice fell, the group of demonic people directly raised their butcher knives. Soon, mournful screams resounded. As for Yi Xian, he calmly watched from the side. He did not have the slightest intention of attacking. Those humans also came to themselves at this moment. Then they ran toward Yi Xian like crazy. Yi Xian still did not attack. They looked at Yi Xian and begged as they ran, "Save." Yi Xian still did not move. Soon, all the humans were killed. The ground was covered in corpses and blood. At this moment, the group of cavalrymen arrived in front of Yi Xian's group. Ling Yan stared at the cavalryman. Although he was a bit panicked, there was no fear in his eyes. The little girl gently pulled on Yi Xian's sleeve. She was very afraid and was about to cry. The leader of the demonic cavalrymen looked at Yi Xian and was about to speak when Yi Xian suddenly leaped up and punched him in the face before he could react. Bang! The Devilman cavalry commander's head directly exploded, blood splattering everywhere. After he instantly annihilated the commander of the cavalrymen, Yi Xian suddenly charged into the midst of the cavalrymen, and it wasn't long before numerous explosions resounded incessantly. Every punch landed on flesh. Before long, the 10,000 cavalrymen had all fallen. Although Yi Xian's cultivation was currently sealed and he only had the physical body of the consolidation realm, it was still not something that ordinary people could fight against. Seeing how easily Yi Xian slaughtered the cavalry, Ling Yan was dumbfounded. Yi Xian looked at the corpses on the ground before looking at Lin Yan and the little girl. "Let's go." Soon, the three of them continued on their way. This time, it was much quieter. Ling Yan didn't dare to say anything. The little girl glanced at Yi Xian. There were a few times when she wanted to speak, but she held back. On the demonic beast, Yi Xian closed his eyes and pondered. At this moment, he was extremely shocked in his heart because he'd noticed a problem. He'd actually sensed his own sword intent just now. Good and evil sword intent. However, it disappeared very quickly. It might have been suppressed by the sword aura that the green-robed man left in his body. What was good? He saved people. That was good. What was evil? He left people to die. That was evil. However, regardless of whether he saved people or not, he had a clear conscience. Good and evil could be decided by a single thought. Yi Xian opened his eyes and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. In fact, being a good person was extremely tiring. That was because you had to make do with those who had ill intentions towards you. The deep-rooted bad habit of humans was that when facing evil people, they would bend their knees and be extremely obedient. However, when facing good people, they would be extremely evil. Why should good people make do with evil people? Yi Xian would not be a good person. To him, he could save people, but he could also kill them. At that moment, the little girl suddenly said, "Brother God Yi." Yi Xian looked at the little girl and smiled. "What's wrong?" The little girl hesitated for a moment before asking, "Why are you so powerful?" Yi Xian blinked. "Because I cultivate." "Do you want to cultivate?" The little girl nodded vigorously. Yi Xian smiled and placed his right hand between the little girl's brows. Then, he transferred the 1st to the 9th volume of the Tao scripture into the little girl's mind. However, he placed a restriction on them. For example, she had to finish cultivating the 1st volume before she could cultivate the 2nd volume. As if he thought of something, he looked at Lin Yan. Lin Yan immediately dismounted and knelt on one knee. "I am willing to serve you." Yi Xian shook his head. "You don't have to serve me." As he said that, he passed the Tao scripture to Lin Yan. Lin Yan suddenly knelt down and kowtowed. Cultivation method. In the demonic area, there were very few cultivation methods that humans could cultivate. That was because they were all destroyed by the demons. It could be said that an ordinary human's cultivation technique was very, very precious to humans. However, what Yi Xian gave him was not an ordinary cultivation method. Yi Xian helped Lin Yan up. "Get up. Don't kneel so easily in the future." Lin Yan shook his head. "This is enough to change my fate." Yi Xian smiled. "It is fate that brought us to know each other." Lin Yan looked at Yi Xian and nodded slightly. At that moment, the sound of demonic beasts galloping came from behind. Lin Yan's expression changed and he turned his head to look. Not far away, a group of demonic beast cavalry was charging towards them. These demonic beasts were huge and they were wearing armor. Their auras were extremely powerful. When they felt the aura of these demonic beasts, the demonic beasts that the 3 of them were riding on immediately crouched on the ground and trembled. Yi Xian was shocked. The demonic beasts were of a high level. They were all at the Tao attainment realm. The leader of the cavalry had even reached the consolidation realm. Not simple. What was worth mentioning was that the demonic beasts were wearing armor of a very high level. They were at least at the Tao attainment realm. Looking at the armor, Yi Xian thought of the little white guy's ancient shield. Damn! With that ancient shield, wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wanted in this place? Unfortunately, the ancient shield was gone. What a pity. Yi Xian sighed in his heart. He looked into the distance. In the middle of the demonic beast cavalry was a very luxurious carriage. The demonic beast pulling the carriage was at the peak of the consolidation realm. Its aura was extremely powerful. Yi Xian thought to himself, the identity of this group of people is not simple. The group of demonic beast cavalry got closer. However, their target was not Yi Xian's group. Instead, they were heading towards the distant sky capital city. The leader of the demonic beast cavalry kept staring at Yi Xian. Yi Xian did not show any weakness and stared back. What was there to be afraid of? The leader of the demonic beast cavalry did not make a move. Just as the group of cavalry was about to pass Yi Xian, a voice suddenly sounded from the carriage. Stop. As soon as the voice fell, the group of cavalry instantly stopped. Yi Xian looked at the carriage. At this moment, the window of the carriage suddenly opened. Yi Xian saw a woman. A demonic beast female. Other than her eyes, this demonic beast female was no different from a human. The only difference was that her eyes were dark purple. Dark purple. It had to be said that this demonic beast female was very beautiful. Her exquisite facial features were perfect without a single flaw. However, she was too cold. Aloof. The demonic beast female just stared at Yi Xian. Yi Xian also stared back at the demonic beast female. Seeing that Yi Xian and the demonic beast female were looking at each other, a demonic beast cavalry guard suddenly stabbed his spear towards Yi Xian's eyes. However, Yi Xian's speed was faster. At the moment when the guard stabbed his spear, Yi Xian directly punched his throat. Kacha! The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Immediately after, the demonic beast soldier fell to the ground. Killed in one move. Seeing that they had made a move, the surrounding demonic beast cavalry immediately surrounded Yi Xian's group. At this moment, the demonic beast female raised her jade-like hand and the demonic beast cavalry immediately stopped. The demonic beast female looked at the girl. "You are very courageous." Yi Xian smiled and looked at Lin Yan and the little girl. "Let's go." Right at this moment, the commander of the demonic beast cavalry suddenly appeared in front of Yi Xian. The demonic beast cavalry leader gazed at Yi Xian. "Did I allow you to leave?" Right at this moment, the demonic beast cavalry leader suddenly leaped up. The demonic beast cavalry leader's expression instantly changed, and he raised his spear to block. Yi Xian's fist smashed down. Bang! The spear broke into pieces, and Yi Xian's fist smashed onto the helmet of the demonic beast cavalry leader. Bang! The demon beast beneath the demonic beast cavalry leader let out a shrill cry, and then it sank into the ground. On the other hand, the demonic beast cavalry leader collapsed to the ground as well. However, he didn't die because the helmet had absorbed most of the force. The surrounding demonic beast cavalry were stunned. There was a trace of shock in the demonic beast female's eyes as well. Yi Xian suddenly stomped his right foot on the chest of the demonic beast cavalry leader, and he looked down at the demonic beast cavalry leader. The demonic beast cavalry leader stared fixedly at him and was about to speak when Yi Xian suddenly stomped his right foot down. Bang! The demonic beast cavalry leader's body exploded into pieces, and his internal organs splattered all over the ground. His soul was completely destroyed. Yi Xian clapped his hands, and he glanced at the surrounding demonic beast cavalry. Finally, he looked at the demonic beast female in the carriage. "I'm leaving now. Do you have a problem with that?" A threat. Hearing Yi Xian's words, the consolidation realm demon beast in front of the demonic beast female suddenly roared, and it was about to attack. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly rushed in front of it, raised his fist, and threw a punch at it. The punch landed directly on the demonic beast's head. Bang! The demon beast was directly sent flying, and the carriage was instantly reduced to ashes. However, the demonic beast female had appeared several tens of feet behind Yi Xian. In the distance, the demon beast crashed heavily into the ground after flying several hundred feet, and the entire ground immediately cracked. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly leaped up, and like a cannonball, he shot towards the demon beast. Bang! Under everyone's gaze, the demon beast's head was directly hit by Yi Xian's punch. Bang! The demon beast's head directly sank into the ground, and Yi Xian ferociously hammered again, and soon, the powerful demon beast stopped moving. It was forcefully hammered to death. At this moment, the surrounding demonic beast finally felt fear. That was a consolidation realm demon beast. And it was hammered to death just like that? In the distance, the demonic beast female stared fixedly at Yi Xian, and did not speak. At this moment, Yi Xian stopped, and he turned to look at Lin Yan and the little girl. "Let's go." Soon, the three of them leisurely walked into the distance. The demonic beast female suddenly said, "Who are you?" Without turning his head, Yi Xian replied, "The man that you will never be able to get." The demonic beast female, FPZW. Chapter 1581. Yi Xian led Lin Yan and the little girl towards the distant sky capital city. He only had one problem on his mind, and that was to find a way to return to the 9th dimension after settling the two little fellows by his side. But he knew that it was absolutely not a simple matter. If it was really that simple, then the green-clothed man wouldn't have sent him here. Moreover, his cultivation and bloodline were sealed, so only his physical body remained. Could it be that the green-clothed man wanted to strengthen his physical body? Yi Xian was slightly puzzled. He had a feeling that the green-clothed man didn't simply send him here to gain experience. At this moment, the three of them arrived at Sky Capital City. They just arrived at the city gates when they were stopped by two soldiers. One of the soldiers pointed his spear at Yi Xian angrily. "Lowly human, you actually dare." Yi Xian moved forward and punched him. Bang! The soldier's head was directly smashed into pieces. An instant kill. Yi Xian punched again, and the other soldier's head was directly smashed into pieces. Yi Xian led the two of them forward. However, they just entered the city when countless demons looked at Yi Xian's group of three. These demons didn't conceal their killing intent at all. Yi Xian's expression was calm. A group of demons stood not too far away from them, and they had no intention of giving way. Yi Xian charged forward and punched them. Bang! The demon in the lead was directly punched in the chest, and then his body instantly exploded into pieces while blood sprayed out. The other demons were stunned when they saw this scene. Is this human really so arrogant? Yi Xian looked at the remaining demons, and their expressions instantly changed as they retreated. Yi Xian led Lin Yan and the little girl forward. As if he'd thought of something, he suddenly turned to look at a nearby demon and asked, "Where's the teleportation array that leads to the mortal dimension?" That demon dweller looked at Yi Xian fearfully and did not say anything. At this time, Yi Xian suddenly grabbed the demon dweller's collar, and then he lifted him up and said angrily, "I asked you a question, didn't you hear me?" Around them, the demonic dwellers looked at Yi Xian in disbelief. Damn it! He had never seen such an arrogant human before. That fiend man was extremely afraid. He hurriedly pointed into the distance and said with a trembling voice, "Go straight." Yi Xian released the demon and brought Lin Yan and the little girl away. Along the way, many demons stared at Yi Xian's group. His expression was unfriendly. At this moment, a burly demon suddenly appeared in front of Yi Xian and the other two. The demon looked at Yi Xian with disdain. "Since when can lowly humans walk on the streets?" Yi Xian thought for a moment and said, "I feel that regardless of humans or demonic beasts, everyone is equal. It is not good for you to be discriminating against us like this." That demon dweller suddenly pointed at Yi Xian angrily, "Equal? You humans are just lowly slaves. Are you worthy to be equal to us demons? You." Just as he said this, Yi Xian suddenly appeared in front of him. In the next moment, under the gaze of all the demonic dwellers, Yi Xian directly grabbed the demon dweller's throat and slammed him onto the ground. Bang! The ground instantly exploded. He did not die. Under the gaze of all the demonic dwellers, Yi Xian suddenly twisted the demon dweller's hair into a twist. Then, he dragged the demon dweller forward. Lin Yan looked at Yi Xian with excitement and hurriedly followed. The little girl also hurriedly followed. Just like that, the three of them continued forward. All along the way, the demon dweller that Yi Xian dragged screamed incessantly, and the ground beneath him was covered in blood. The other demonic dwellers in the surroundings were instantly infuriated when they witnessed this scene. That was simply an insult to the demonic dwellers. However, none of them dared to attack. The strength that Yi Xian revealed was truly too terrifying. Suddenly, the ground in the distance started to tremble. It didn't take long for a group of armored demonic dwellers to charge over. There were a few thousand of them. The leader of the demonic dwellers was a commander who held a spear in his hand. When he saw Yi Xian dragging the demon dweller, the commander's expression instantly became ferocious, and he pointed his spear at Yi Xian furiously, "Kill him." Yi Xian suddenly stopped, but he charged forward in the next moment. He was extremely swift, and the commander's head flew into the air before he could even react. It was an instant kill. However, Yi Xian didn't stop. He charged into the group of demonic dwellers and slaughtered them madly. One punch for one. It wasn't long before thousands of demonic dwellers were lying on the ground, and all of them had died horribly. They either had their heads blown off or their bodies shattered. Fresh blood dyed the ground red. Yi Xian stood amongst the corpses. His eyes slowly closed, and his right hand was clenched tightly. At this moment, he actually felt the blood in his body boil. Could it be that his bloodline is about to break through the seal? As soon as this thought arose in Yi Xian's mind, his blood instantly calmed down. It's been sealed. Yi Xian was slightly speechless. Without thinking too much about it, Yi Xian glanced at the corpses of the demonic dwellers. He suddenly realized that he liked using his fists a little. Fists were more violent than swords. Every time his fist smashed onto the demonic dweller's head, he actually felt a sense of excitement when he saw the demonic dweller's head explode. Fists were more violent than swords, and it made one's blood boil more easily. Yi Xian felt that if he was allowed to kill a few more demonic dwellers, he might be able to allow his insane demon bloodline to directly break through the green-clothed man's seal. Of course, this was only his feeling, and he didn't dare confirm it. After all, it was a seal left behind by the green-clothed man. It's his father. Thinking of this, Yi Xian shook his head. If I have a son in the future, I will also throw him somewhere else. After saying that, he turned around and walked in front of Lin Yan and the little girl. Let's go. The three of them continued forward. As if he thought of something, Yi Xian looked towards the demonic dweller that he was dragging earlier. When the demonic dweller saw Yi Xian looking over, he hurriedly said with a trembling voice, Spare my life." After seeing Yi Xian slaughter thousands of people in such a short period of time, his mind became clear. Although the man in front of him was a human, he was a powerful human. Yi Xian blinked his eyes. "You're begging for mercy like a human?" The demonic dweller said with a trembling voice, I think what you said makes sense. Whether it's a demonic dweller or a human, everyone is equal." Just as Yi Xian was about to speak, at this moment, a female demonic dweller suddenly said angrily, "Coward." Yi Xian looked at the female, and the female angrily stared at the man in front of Yi Xian and angrily scolded, "Even if he is powerful, he is still a lowly human. We demonic dwellers will never submit to a human, would rather die." Yi Xian suddenly disappeared from his spot, and the next moment, the female's head directly smashed into the ground. Bang! Blood splattered everywhere. She didn't die, but the female's body was deformed. Yi Xian looked at the female and grinned, "You have guts." After saying that, he stepped on the female's foot. Bang! The female's right foot directly shattered. And it was not over yet. Yi Xian kicked again. Very quickly, the female's four limbs were broken by Yi Xian's foot. And it was not over yet. Yi Xian suddenly grabbed the female's hair, and at this moment, the female said with a trembling voice, "Spare." Before she finished speaking, Yi Xian suddenly grabbed the female's hair and violently smashed it on the ground. Very quickly, the ground around him was filled with large craters. After a while, Yi Xian threw the female's corpse to the side, and in front of him, there was a pool of blood. This scene directly scared the surrounding demonic dwellers silly. The demonic dwellers all retreated, and looked at Yi Xian as if they were looking at a monster. And the demonic dweller beside Yi Xian that was dragged away by him earlier had already fainted from fright. This is too violent. Yi Xian clapped his hands, turned his head to look at the demonic dwellers, and grinned, "Do you still have guts? I specialize in dealing with those who refuse to submit." Everyone looked at Yi Xian as if they were looking at a devil. And Yi Xian himself did not notice that his eyes were actually a little scarlet. But very quickly, Yi Xian also noticed that something was wrong. He slowly closed his eyes. Because he discovered that the blood vessels in his body actually started to surge again. He can feel that it is not immortal blood meridians, but mad demon blood meridians. But very quickly, the blood in his body returned to normal. Yi Xian frowned. What is going on? After a while, Yi Xian collected his thoughts, turned to look at Lin Yan and the little girl, and said with a smile, "Let's go." Finished speaking, the three of them continued to move forward. And this time, no demonic dwellers stopped them. On the other side of the street, there is a horse carriage, and inside the horse carriage is a woman. it is the demonic dweller that Yi Xian met once before outside the city. She has seen everything that happened on the street just now. The demonic dweller looked at Yi Xian's back. No one knows what she is thinking. At this time, not far from her, a demonic dweller cavalry suddenly said, "Miss, the sky is going to turn dark. We must leave this place before the sky turns dark." The demonic dweller glanced at the sky, nodded slightly, and put down the curtain. The horse carriage continued to move forward. Yi Xian, Lin Yan, and the little girl arrived at the teleportation field of Divine Capital City. There are over 100 teleportation points here, and they can lead to various places in the devil dimension. Yi Xian glanced at the teleportation points, and every teleportation point has a name written below it. Very quickly, Yi Xian found the teleportation point that leads to the mortal dimension. Just as Yi Xian was about to lead the two of them to the teleportation point, Yi Xian suddenly turned to look, and there is a group of people walking over. It is the group of people that he met outside the city, and at this moment, the woman in the horse carriage has walked out. The soldiers around the woman are looking at Yi Xian with extremely vigilant expressions. The woman glanced at Yi Xian, and then she led the group of people towards the teleportation point. Yi Xian did not stay for long, and he led Lin Yan and the little girl towards the teleportation point. However, just as they were about to enter the teleportation point, the sky suddenly split open, and the next moment, a white light suddenly descended from the sky. Boom! Before the crowd could react, the teleportation array had been turned into nothingness. When the white light dissipated, a person walked out. When he saw this person, Yi Xian, who was in the distance, had a drastic change in his expression. He was so frightened that he took a few steps back. F***CK. What the hell? P.S. Many readers said that to open a new map, I want to write a few thousand chapters. Don't worry, I have never written more than 500 chapters in a world. The story of the devil dimension can't even be written for dozens of chapters. Everyone, don't worry, the only sword won't write for too long, because only popular books will the author continue writing crazily, because it can earn money. The only sword isn't popular, so when it's time to end, I won't write too much. Sometimes, when I slow down, I just want to write a better story, because if the plot is too fast, it's easy to lose a lot of people, and if I slow down, it's easy to be criticized. When I slow down, I try to write as much as possible, so that everyone can read more comfortably. Thank you to all the readers who have supported me, especially those from Jianghu who have quietly subscribed and supported me. It's your subscription and support that allowed me to persevere for so long. I don't want to be a young model anymore. Because I'm already a flop. Everyone, don't compare me to some of the gods, saying that the gods don't care about the original subscription, and even suggesting that the readers read the pirated version. That's because the copyright is worth tens of millions. The only sword's copyright isn't worth much. No, no one wants it. The top gods want the copyright, but we, the poor authors, can only beg for subscriptions. The number of readers who read the original version is really too little. If it weren't for the support of the readers from Jianghu, this book might have already been abandoned. What 3 swords, what Qing'er? It's all gone now. Or is it that in the hearts of some readers, I'm also a god? A yearly income of tens of millions? To be honest, I have this dream every day. FPZW. Chapter 1582. The reason why Yi Xian was so shocked was because he knew the person in front of him. This person was none other than Mu Xiaodao. Mu Xiaodao. Yi Xian looked at Mu Xiaodao in front of him in a daze. Damn it, how much hatred does she have? She chased me all the way here. Is this woman crazy? Mu Xiaodao slowly closed her eyes. Her face was slightly pale. It was obvious that she had consumed a lot of energy. Yi Xian glanced at Mu Xiaodao and felt like slipping away. But he knew that he couldn't slip away now. Not to mention now, even if his cultivation wasn't sealed, he might not be able to defeat this woman. At this moment, Mu Xiaodao suddenly opened her eyes and looked at Yi Xian. The corners of her mouth curled up. Long time no see. Yi Xian looked at Mu Xiaodao. Miss Mu, I really admire you. You actually chased me all the way here. You're really a talent. Mu Xiaodao sized up Yi Xian, and her eyes suddenly lit up. Your cultivation has been sealed. Yi Xian's expression was calm. Yes. Mu Xiaodao opened her palm and a flying knife suddenly appeared in her hand. She looked at Yi Xian with a faint smile. Come, I'll let you punch me first. Yi Xian, on the other side, the demonic woman sized up Mu Xiaodao. No one knew what she was thinking. At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly came from afar. Everyone looked up. The space in the sky suddenly split open. In the next moment, a middle-aged man walked out. It was a demonic person. An eternal realm expert. After the middle-aged man appeared, his gaze fell on Yi Xian and the others. When he saw Yi Xian and the others, his eyes immediately turned cold. You slaughtered the demonic people in the city? Yi Xian didn't say anything. Mu Xiaodao blinked her eyes and put away her flying knife. Obviously, she wanted to watch the show. At this moment, dozens of people suddenly appeared behind the middle-aged man. These people all had very strong auras. The weakest was at the Dao attainment realm. The middle-aged man glanced at Yi Xian and the others before he said, "Kill them." As soon as he finished speaking, the people behind him suddenly charged towards the group below. Those people were not only targeting Yi Xian, they were also targeting Mu Xiaodao. Seeing this scene, Mu Xiaodao suddenly frowned. Wait. However, those Devil Dweller experts didn't wait at all. A Devil Dweller directly charged in front of her and stabbed his spear towards her head. Before the spear could even get close to Mu Xiaodao, the Devil Dweller's head flew into the air. In the distance, Yi Xian had already defeated more than 10 demonic cultivators. They were all instant kills. When they saw this scene, the remaining Devil Dwellers didn't dare to move forward. In the sky, the middle-aged man frowned deeply. There was a trace of seriousness in his eyes. The strength of these two humans had exceeded his expectations. Without any hesitation, the middle-aged man took out a voice transmission stone. Call for help. At this moment, Mu Xiaodao, who was not far away, suddenly looked at the middle-aged man. Is there something wrong with your head? The middle-aged man looked at Mu Xiaodao. Mu Xiaodao pointed at herself. Why did you hit me? I'm not on his side. The middle-aged man gazed at Mu Xiaodao. So I can't hit you if I'm not on your side? Yi Xian was speechless. Mu Xiaodao's gaze gradually turned cold as she gazed at the middle-aged man. Are you retarded? The middle-aged man stared fixedly at Mu Xiaodao. All of you lowly humans deserve death. Mu Xiaodao's beautiful brows knit together slightly when she heard this. Lowly humans? The middle-aged man spoke coldly. Aren't humans lowly? Mu Xiaodao blinked, and then she gazed at Yi Xian. Yi Xian spoke seriously. They discriminate against humans. Mu Xiaodao gazed at the middle-aged man with slight surprise. You discriminate against humans? The middle-aged man laughed coldly. Lowly humans, all of you are only fit to be dogs of us Devil Dwellers. Yi Xian shook his head. He'd finally noticed. These people discriminated against humans, and it wasn't just an ordinary level of severity. Mu Xiaodao suddenly turned to look at Yi Xian. Did you just slaughter those Devil Dwellers? Yi Xian nodded. Mu Xiaodao gave a thumbs up. Well done. As soon as she finished speaking, the flying dagger in her hand suddenly disappeared. In the next moment, the middle-aged man's head flew into the air. Before the remaining Devil Dwellers could react, their heads flew into the air one after another. In less than a breath's time, the middle-aged man and the others were all instantly killed. Seeing this scene, the female Devil Dweller and the others were dumbfounded. That was a consolidation realm expert. They were instantly killed just like that? At this moment, Mu Xiaodao turned to look at the female Devil Dweller and the others. The expressions of the female devil dweller and the others instantly changed. The female devil dweller hurriedly said, "Sir, we do not discriminate against humans." Mu Xiaodao glanced at the female devil dweller and put away her flying dagger. She looked at Yi Xian. At this moment, the distant horizon suddenly split open. In the next moment, a group of devil dwellers charged out. The leader was an old man. When he saw the corpses of the devil dwellers, the old man's gaze immediately turned cold, and he looked at Mu Xiaodao in the distance. "You killed them?" Mu Xiaodao nodded and smiled. "I killed them." Not convinced? The old man's eyes narrowed slightly. "You're very arrogant." Mu Xiaodao smiled, and then she opened her palm. A flying dagger suddenly appeared in her hand. In the next moment, the flying dagger suddenly flew out. In the sky, the old man's pupils suddenly constricted, and he suddenly smashed his fist forward. As his fist descended, the space in front of him transformed into an enormous crater. However, who was this person in front of her? It was Mu Xiaodao. The flying dagger slashed through the sky. Hiss! The old man's body was directly slashed into two by the flying dagger, and blood covered the ground. The flying dagger didn't vanish. After it circled the sky once, the devil dwellers in the sky were instantly killed. They didn't even have the strength to fight back. The female devil dweller and the others were horrified by this scene. These two humans before them were truly too terrifying. Mu Xiaodao opened her palm, and the flying dagger returned to her hand. She gazed at Yi Xian who stood nearby. Yi Xian smiled embarrassedly. "Humans don't fight humans." Mu Xiaodao gazed at Yi Xian, and then she opened her palm and the flying dagger appeared. Yi Xian's eyelids twitched when he witnessed this scene, and he hurriedly said, "Let's stop for a moment." Mu Xiaodao blinked. "Are you trying to trick me?" Yi Xian spoke in a low voice. "Can you let me finish something before we fight?" Mu Xiaodao thought for a moment and said, "Go ahead." Yi Xian gazed at Lin Yan and the young girl. "I want to send them to the mortal dimension. It's truly too dangerous for them to stay here." Mu Xiaodao glanced at Lin Yan and the little girl and smiled. "You can rest in peace. I'll help you send them to the mortal dimension." As she spoke, she was about to attack. Meanwhile, Yi Xian suddenly said, "If you really want to do that, then I'll have to release the sword energy within me. It's the sword energy left behind by that green-clothed man." Sword energy. Mu Xiaodao immediately stopped and glanced at Yi Xian. "You have sword energy within you?" Yi Xian smiled. "You can sense it for yourself." Mu Xiaodao gazed at Yi Xian, and her expression gradually became slightly solemn. "He really does." Yi Xian smiled. "Miss Mu, even though my cultivation is sealed right now, if I release this sword energy that can save my life, then..." He. Mu Xiaodao fell silent for a moment before she suddenly smiled. Mu Xiaodao, am not an unreasonable person. You're doing a good deed by sending these two humans to the mortal dimension, so how could I stop you? Come, I'll go with both of you." Yi Xian was speechless. Mu Xiaodao blinked. "Are we going or not?" Yi Xian spoke indifferently. "When you came, you destroyed the teleportation formation. There's no way to leave now." Mu Xiaodao turned around and saw that the teleportation formations behind her had been destroyed. Meanwhile, the woman suddenly said, "Both of you can head to Hidden Heaven City. There's a teleportation formation there that can teleport you to the surroundings of the mortal dimension." Yi Xian gazed at the woman. "Hidden Heaven City?" The woman nodded. "Yes. It's a few hundred kilometers ahead." Yi Xian thought for a moment and said, "Thank you." As soon as he finished speaking, he gazed at Mu Xiaodao. "Let's go." It didn't take long for them to continue on their way. The woman gazed at the figures of Yi Xian and the others in the distance, and she said softly, "I'm afraid their journey won't be peaceful." An old man by the woman's side spoke in a low voice. "Young miss, these two humans might not be from our demon domain." The woman nodded. "I know. Both of them are shocked by how the demon domain discriminates against humans. Obviously, they've just arrived here." The old man nodded. "If I'm not wrong, Demon City should know about them. The woman glanced at the corpses of the demon domain in the distance. All of them came from Demon City. After a while, the woman suddenly spoke. The secret domain will open in a few days, let's go. As soon as she finished speaking, she turned and left. Soon, the group of demon domain vanished into the distance. Outside the city, Yi Xian's group of 4 headed towards Hidden Heaven City. On the way, Yi Xian suddenly asked, "Young Miss Mu, can I ask you about something?" Mu Xiaodao spoke indifferently, "You want to ask about Xiao Air?" Yi Xian nodded. Mu Xiaodao smiled, "Don't worry, she'll be fine." Yi Xian frowned, "Really?" Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, "No one in the Cosmos God Court can punish her. The only thing that can punish her is the misfortune law. The misfortune law won't really hurt her, but it will probably brainwash her. Therefore, you have to be careful. Because the next time you meet her, she might have already been brainwashed." Yi Xian glanced at Mu Xiaodao, "What about you? Have you been brainwashed?" Mu Xiaodao spoke indifferently, "I've been brainwashed every day, but I'm just listening. You can have faith, but you have to be rational. Because many people like to use faith to enslave others. Anyway, if faith is good for me, I'll believe. If it's not good, I won't believe a chicken feather." Yi Xian gave a thumbs up, "Amazing." He suddenly realized that this Mu Xiaodao was actually a person who was neither good nor evil, and also an especially shameless person. If it's good for her, she'll acknowledge it. If it's not good for her, she won't acknowledge it. The Cosmos Divine Court was really unlucky to accept such a person. At this moment, Mu Xiaodao spoke suddenly, "You asked me a question just now, I want to ask you a question too." Yi Xian said, "Speak." Mu Xiaodao spoke indifferently, "That green-robed man is quite strong. Did he tell you how to surpass the mortal realm?" Yi Xian's expression became strange. "Damn it. This woman isn't here to kill me, she's here to ask for information." Chapter 1583. Beyond the Mortal Realm. Yi Xian knew what was going on. He asked calmly, "Miss Mu, have you not surpassed the mortal realm?" Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian, "Is there a problem?" Yi Xian smiled, "There's no other meaning. Miss Mu is so strong that I always thought you had surpassed the mortal realm." Mu Xiaodao's expression was calm, "You haven't answered my question." Yi Xian thought about it and said, "He did." Mu Xiaodao looked at Yi Xian, "How do I break through to the mortal realm?" Yi Xian smiled, "Miss Mu, there's something I'm curious about. The laws of the universe are so strong. Logically speaking, they should be able to help you surpass the mortal realm, right?" Mu Xiaodao went silent for a while. "Would you believe me if I told you that I've never seen the laws of the universe?" Yi Xian frowned, "How is that possible? You're a guardian of the universe." Mu Xiaodao said, "Not just me, besides Exian, almost all the other guardians of the universe have never seen the laws of the universe. The reason we became guardians of the universe was because we passed some tests. As for the laws of the universe, we've never seen them before." Yi Xian said solemnly, "Are they really that mysterious?" Mu Xiaodao looked towards the depths of space. A very long time ago, the laws of the universe were everywhere. But later on, when someone started to defy the laws of the universe, the laws of the universe went into hiding. When they went into hiding, even we couldn't contact them." Yi Xian suddenly asked, "What about the Cosmos God Court? Was it created by the laws of the universe?" Mu Xiaodao said, "Sort of. However, the first God Lord of the Cosmos God Court, the founder of the Cosmos God Court, no one knows who he is. The current God Lord of the Cosmos God Court is a fellow called Exian." Yi Xian went silent for a while, then asked, "Are there any existences in the Cosmos God Court that have surpassed the mortal realm?" Mu Xiaodao thought about it and said, "There are many." Yi Xian, Mu Xiaodao pretended to be surprised, "You don't look too good. Are you sick?" Yi Xian said indifferently, "If I can't beat them, I'll call for help." Mu Xiaodao's smile froze. Yi Xian also pretended to be surprised. "Miss Xiaodao, your expression doesn't look good either." Are you sick? Come on, take off your clothes. I'll take a look at you. Mu Xiaodao opened her palm and a flying knife appeared in her hand. She looked at Yi Xian with a smile that was not a smile. Do you want to see? Yi Xian said seriously, looks like Miss Xiaodao has recovered from her illness. I don't want to watch anymore. Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian. Do you want to know the strongest people in the Cosmos God Court? Yi Xian quickly asked, who? Mu Xiaodao smiled and said, DXN. There was also Wuku from the Heavenly King Palace. He had met DXN a long, long time ago. This is a person who makes me feel very dangerous. In this world, there are very, very few things that can make me feel extremely dangerous. Yi Xian asked again, what about Wuku? Mu Xiaodao said, she is from the Heaven King Hall. She is the hall master of the first hall under the God Court. She is in charge of the 72 Heaven Kings. It is said that with her strength, she could have entered the God Court a long time ago and obtained a word from the laws of the universe with another fella. However, for some reason, she did not enter the God Court and has always been in the Heaven King Hall. However, there was once a super expert in the God Court who fought with her and was defeated in 10 moves. And that expert had already surpassed the mortal realm a long, long time ago. Yi Xian went silent for a while and continued to ask, what about the other one? Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, Lord God Official, known as the number one person under the laws. He is the other fella that I mentioned just now. He is in charge of the 36 ancient gods and the mysterious spirit hall. Yi Xian said solemnly, during the war, these people you mentioned didn't come, right? Mu Xiaodao nodded. Yi Xian was confused, why didn't they come? Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian, you are not the only target of the Cosmos God Court. Yi Xian frowned slightly, what do you mean? Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, in this vast universe, the Cosmos God Court still has some opponents. These people do not abide by the laws of the universe. There are also some who want to overthrow the Cosmos God Court. Yi Xian blinked, overthrow the Cosmos God Court? Mu Xiaodao nodded, for example, some people who want to obtain eternal life. These people are extremely strong. They want to go against the laws of the universe and obtain eternal life. These people are the targets of the Cosmos God Court. Other than that, there are some extremely strong people who want to reincarnate. These people are also the targets of the Cosmos God Court. According to what I know, there are two powers that are giving the Cosmos God Court a headache. Yi Xian asked, which two? Mu Xiaodao said, Sky Estate and Nether Hall. Nether Hall. Yi Xian was astonished, you mean Nether Hall? Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian, you know them? Yi Xian nodded, his heart was incomparably shocked. He did not expect his aunt's Nether Hall to be in conflict with the Cosmos God Court. Mu Xiaodao continued, other than these two superpowers, there is also a wanted list within the Cosmos God Court. It is called the Universe's Wanted List. The top 10 people on this list are all extremely terrifying people. According to what I know, the top 3 people on this wanted list are all extremely terrifying experts. They are people that can give the Cosmos God Court a headache. Yi Xian blinked, really? Mu Xiaodao nodded, the Cosmos God Court did not pay attention to you previously because they had stronger people to deal with. However, now, the Cosmos God Court will definitely pay attention to you. And you are already on the universe's wanted list. Yi Xian was slightly curious, what's my rank on the list? Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, 36. Fuck. Yi Xian suddenly jumped up and said angrily, I'm only 36. I'm only 36. Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian, why, is it low? Yi Xian pointed at himself in disbelief, I'm so powerful but I'm only 36. Yi Xian said indifferently, you're powerful? Think about it, if you did not have the help of the Undying Emperor clan and the green-robed man, would you still be powerful? Yi Xian went silent. Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, without their help, I can deal with you alone, right? Yi Xian thought about it and said, why don't we change the topic? Mu Xiaodao, Yi Xian shook his head and smiled. Actually, he knew that he was not strong enough, but he was really sullen. He had just reached the mortal realm and thought that he could act cool. But he did not expect that a huge group of mortal realm experts would come to fight him. Moreover, even those above mortal realm had appeared. He did not want to call for help. He wanted to rely on himself and then kill his way to the Cosmos God Court and shout, "I want to die." But he was not strong enough. At this moment, Mu Xiaodao said, "But you have to be careful now. Because the Cosmos God Court has started to pay attention to you. If I'm not wrong, they should be looking for you." "Yi Xian," Mu Xiaodao suddenly said, "you have asked me so many questions, now it's my turn to ask you." Yi Xian nodded, "Ask away." Mu Xiaodao looked at Yi Xian, "Who is the green-robed man?" Yi Xian said, "My father." Mu Xiaodao blinked, "Your father?" Yi Xian nodded. Mu Xiaodao went silent for a moment and asked, "What about the woman in the plain dress?" Yi Xian said, "My sister." Mu Xiaodao's eyes widened, "Are you sure?" Yi Xian nodded, "But she is not related to the green-robed man. She is my sister from my previous life." Mu Xiaodao went silent for a long time before saying, "So that means that the green-robed man is your father, the plain-dress woman is your sister, and that white-robed swordsman is your big brother?" Yi Xian nodded. Mu Xiaodao gave a thumbs up to Yi Xian, "I'm impressed." Yi Xian, Mu Xiaodao sighed softly and a sense of helplessness rose in her heart. How could the Cosmos God Court fight against this strong second generation? She had never faced the plain dress woman before and did not know her true strength. But how could a person who dared to search for the laws of the universe be weak? She had seen the white-robed swordsman and the green-robed man and had fought them before. Just thinking about them made her despair. Mu Xiaodao sighed again and turned to look at Yi Xian. Was the Cosmos God Court really going to fight to the death with this strong second generation? At this moment, she was a little worried for the Cosmos God Court. After a long time, Mu Xiaodao asked again, "Did they teach you how to reach beyond the mortal realm?" Yi Xian shook his head, "No." Mu Xiaodao nodded and did not speak anymore. Yi Xian looked at Mu Xiaodao, "Miss Mu, you did not come to find me to kill me, right?" Mu Xiaodao said calmly, "Let's see how it goes." Yi Xian, as the two spoke, they had unknowingly arrived at Hidden Sky City. Buried Sky City was bigger and more prosperous than Sky Capital City. There were people coming and going in front of the city gates. Of course, they were all demons. When Yi Xian and company arrived at the city gates, countless demons looked over. These demons looked at Yi Xian and company with undisguised hostility. Yi Xian looked at those demons, "Miss Mu, is the Cosmos God Court not welcomed here?" Mu Xiaodao said calmly, "The Cosmos God Court only has contact with a few top powers here." Hearing this, Yi Xian understood. This meant that some of the lower powers in the demon domain did not even know the Cosmos God Court. At this moment, the demon soldiers suddenly retreated. Seeing this, Yi Xian frowned slightly. These fellows actually did not attack. There was something fishy going on. Soon, Yi Xian and company entered the city. Just as they entered, the city gates behind them suddenly closed. Seeing this, Yi Xian shook his head. The racial discrimination in the demon domain had reached such an extent. No matter how strong they were, they still wanted to kill them. Right at this moment, countless soldiers suddenly appeared around the city walls. At the same time, thousands of Devilkin soldiers walked over in a formation in front of them. These Devilkin soldiers were clearly the elites of the elites, and all of them emanated a murderous aura. Other than that, countless archers suddenly appeared on the surrounding houses. They were surrounded. Yi Xian looked at Mu Xiaodao, "The humans are being bullied to this extent. Cosmos God Court is not going to do anything?" Mu Xiaodao said calmly, "How? Exterminate the demons in the demon domain?" Yi Xian frowned slightly, "Aren't you guys protecting the order of the universe?" Mu Xiaodao looked at Yi Xian, "The demons did not go against the order of the universe. Moreover, if we help the humans fight the demons, when the demons are weaker, won't the humans still enslave them? Moreover, you pity the humans. Do you know how cruel the humans are to other races? Yi Xian was about to speak. At this moment, the sky suddenly split open. At the next moment, a demon elder walked out. God valiant stage expert. The demon elder looked down at Yi Xian and company. Moments later, he waved his right hand. The soldiers in his hand instantly retreated like a receding tide. Apparently, he had sensed the strength of Yi Xian and Lin Xian. He knew that soldiers like Dao Yi were useless against them. The demon elder looked at Yi Xian. Who exactly are you? Yi Xian thought for a moment and said, have you heard of the Cosmos God Court? The demon elder squinted his eyes. You are from the Cosmos God Court? Yi Xian nodded, yes. The demon elder suddenly said fiercely, is the Cosmos God Court very amazing? Yi Xian was speechless. The demon elder stared at Yi Xian. The two of you have massacred tens of thousands of demons. There's no need to talk about the Cosmos God Court, even the laws of the universe wouldn't be able to protect the two of you. Yi Xian was dumbfounded. F***ck, even I'm not as arrogant as you. He almost couldn't help but want to give the old man a thumbs up. P.S. I've been working hard to save manuscripts. By the way, have I ever released more than 10 chapters? Chapter 1584. Beside Yi Xian, Mu Xiaodao's expression was unusually calm. She glanced at the demon old man. You don't even place the Cosmos God Court in your eyes? The demon old man looked at Mu Xiaodao and mocked. Is the Cosmos God Court worthy of my demon world's attention? Yi Xian gave the demon old man a thumbs up. Impressive. Mu Xiaodao looked at the demon old man. You are really arrogant. The moment she finished speaking, she opened her palm and a flying knife appeared in it. In the next instant, the flying knife suddenly disappeared. Chi! A sharp tearing sound could be heard. In the sky, the demon old man's pupils constricted. Just as he was about to attack, a flying knife suddenly appeared in between his eyebrows. The knife penetrated half an inch and fresh blood flowed out. Mu Xiaodao did not kill the demon old man immediately. She walked in front of the demon old man. What rights do you have to look down on the Cosmos God Court? The demon old man stared at Mu Xiaodao. Do you dare to let me call for help? Yi Xian, Mu Xiaodao nodded, sure. Call for help. With that, she retreated to the side. However, the flying knife still pierced the demon old man's eyebrows. The demon old man hurriedly took out a sound transmission stone and started to call for help. Below, Yi Xian glanced at Mu Xiaodao and said, there is no need for us to waste time with him. Mu Xiaodao raged, it's fine if he looks down on the Cosmos God Court. What right does he have to look down on the laws of the universe? Yi Xian was speechless. Clearly, the demon old man's words, even if the laws of the universe came, they wouldn't be able to protect the two of you, had agitated Mu Xiaodao. Yi Xian glanced at the demon old man. He was slightly impressed by this old man. To be honest, only 3 swords could look down on the laws of the universe and the Cosmos God Court. Moreover, this old man's words and expressions were filled with disdain towards the Cosmos God Court and the laws of the universe. Towards this, Mo Wuji could not understand. At this moment, the space behind the demon old man suddenly trembled. It's coming. The demon elder stared at Mu Xiaodao. You will bring a calamity to your Cosmos God Court. Below, Yi Xian was dumbfounded. Even he felt a little ashamed of his own inferiority when it came to acting tough. Mu Xiaodao looked at the old man. She just looked at him with a calm expression. However, the space around her suddenly trembled. At this moment, a middle-aged man suddenly walked out from behind the demonic cultivator. The middle-aged man wore a gorgeous brocade robe. He was tall and sturdy, and there was a hint of hostility between his brows. Heaven's final realm expert. The middle-aged man looked down at Mu Xiaodao. You are from the Cosmos God Court? Mu Xiaodao nodded. The middle-aged man stared at Mu Xiaodao. Is the Cosmos God Court very impressive? Yi Xian was speechless. Mu Xiaodao nodded. To some people, it's really nothing. But, as she spoke, she looked at the middle-aged man. What kind of trash are you? How dare you look down on the Cosmos God Court? The moment she said that, she opened her palm and a flying knife flew out. In the sky, the middle-aged man's pupils constricted. He punched downwards. This punch caused the space in front of him to shatter. At the same time, the space around him cracked. However, his fist wasn't able to block Mu Xiaodao's flying knife. The flying knife pierced through his fist and slashed his head along his arm. Chi! The middle-aged man's body was split into two. Fresh blood spurted out like a fountain. It was extremely bloody. On the other side, the demonic cultivator was stunned. A Heaven's Final Realm expert was killed just like that? Mu Xiaodao looked at the demonic cultivator. Do you still want to call for more people? The demonic cultivator stared at Mu Xiaodao. Do you know who you killed? You. As he said that, the flying knife stabbed into his forehead. Chi. The demonic cultivator died on the spot. Yi Xian turned his head and looked at Mu Xiaodao. Mu Xiaodao said, these people are too weak. Let's not waste time with them. Let's go. Yi Xian nodded. All of them continued forward. On the way, the little girl by Yi Xian's side suddenly pulled his hand and said softly, Big brother, is the Cosmos God Court really powerful? Yi Xian was speechless. Mu Xiaodao glanced at the little girl. What's your name? The little girl hesitated for a moment and said, I don't have a name. Many slaves don't have names. Mu Xiaodao frowned slightly. Are all the humans here slaves? Lin Yan suddenly said, besides the mortal dimension. All the other humans are slaves of the demonic cultivators. Mu Xiaodao shook his head. The humans in this place are too bad. In next to no time, they arrived at the teleportation area of Hidden Heaven City. Yi Xian glanced around and noticed the teleportation formation that led to the mortal dimension. After they entered the teleportation formation, it started to tremble. Right when they were about to vanish completely, the space in the distance suddenly split open. In the next moment, a powerful aura swept over. Mu Xiaodao frowned slightly when he saw this scene, and he was about to attack. Yi Xian stopped Mu Xiaodao. Ignore them for now. As soon as he spoke, the teleportation formation was activated, and they vanished. Right after they vanished, a black-robed old demon suddenly appeared here. The old demon's expression instantly turned ferocious when he saw Yi Xian and the others vanish, and then he suddenly slapped down with his palm, causing the teleportation formation below to instantly turn into ashes. A short moment later, the black-robed old man spoke fiercely. Do you think the mortal dimension can protect all of you? As soon as he finished speaking, he turned around and vanished. The news of Yi Xian and Lin Yan slaughtering the demonic cultivators spread quickly, and the entire devil dimension exploded when they found out that two humans had slaughtered the demonic cultivators. Humans slaughtering the demonic cultivators? Isn't that going against the heavens? It's an extraordinary humiliation. The demonic cultivators were actually killed by humans, and that was an extraordinary humiliation to the demonic cultivators. For a time, countless demonic cultivators formed groups and rushed to Hidden Heaven City. Their objective was very simple, and it was to kill Yi Xian and Lin Yan. Moreover, many demonic cultivators surged into Demonic City and requested the city to send experts to kill the two humans. Because the other worlds had found out that the demonic cultivators had been slaughtered by humans, and the demonic cultivators of the devil dimension had become a laughing stock. Demonic City. Demonic City was the capital of the devil dimension, and it was the most prosperous place in the entire devil dimension. At this moment, countless demonic cultivators had arrived at the demonic city's main hall, and they requested to send experts to kill Yi Xian and Lin Yan. At this moment, the main hall of demonic city was filled with experts, and the person in the lead was the son of the devil dimension's lord, Sang Ming. Because the devil dimension's lord was in closed-door cultivation, everything in the devil dimension was managed by his son, Sang Ming. Sang Ming looked at the black-robed old man before him. Mortal realm, are you sure? The black-robed old man nodded and said in a low voice, "The woman with the flying dagger is indeed at the mortal realm. As for the human, he's a little weak, and his cultivation is very low. His physical body is only at the consolidation realm, so there's nothing to worry about. Our real target is the woman with the flying dagger." The woman with the flying dagger. At this moment, a demonic cultivator old man suddenly said, "Is she sure that she's from the Cosmos God Court?" The black-robed old man nodded, "Yes. Both of them should be from the Cosmos God Court." The demonic cultivator old man frowned. Since when did a mortal realm expert appear in the Cosmos God Court? Within the main hall, all the demonic cultivator experts were filled with doubt. In the Devil Domain continent, there was a Cosmos Enforcer Hall, and this Cosmos Enforcer Hall belonged to the Cosmos God Court. However, the human experts in the Cosmos Enforcer Hall were very weak, and the strongest one was only at the Heavenly Tao realm. At this moment, Tsang Ming suddenly said, "They should be from the outside world." The black-robed old man nodded. "From our investigations, the two of them seem to be very unfamiliar with our Devil Domain. Therefore, they should be from the outside world." In the main hall, Tsang Ming slowly closed his eyes. Cosmos God Court. Actually, he didn't know much. He only knew that when the Great Devil Lord was still around, the Great Devil Lord had come into contact with the Cosmos God Court. As for the strength of the Cosmos God Court, he didn't know either. His father might know a little about Dao Yi. However, his father was currently in closed-door cultivation. Obviously, he wouldn't disturb him over such a small matter. What was worth mentioning was that the Cosmos Enforcer Hall in the Devil Domain was really weak. At this moment, the black-robed old man spoke again, "Young World Lord, no matter what, we must capture these two. Otherwise, we might not be able to incur the wrath of the commoners." Another demonic cultivator said, "Actually, this is an opportunity for us." Everyone looked towards the demonic cultivator who spoke. The demonic cultivator continued, "Now, all the demonic cultivators in the Devil Domain want to kill these two humans. In other words, as long as we give the order, countless demonic cultivators will be willing to participate in the battle. And we can take this opportunity to devour the entire mortal world." Devour the mortal world. A trace of excitement flashed through Tsang Ming's eyes. This was because the mortal world had a supreme spiritual vein. However, because the Tao ancestor of the mortal world had an agreement with the few realms lords, the few realms didn't have an excuse to attack even though they coveted the supreme spiritual vein. Now, these two humans had escaped to the mortal world. Wasn't this an excuse that was given to them? Tsang Ming suddenly said, "Pass down my order, let the demonic cultivators return to Devil City immediately." Understood. One of the demonic cultivators bowed respectfully before he retreated. At this moment, a demonic cultivator elder beside Tsang Ming suddenly said, "Young World Lord, I think we should ask the Realm's Lord about this matter." Tsang Ming glanced at the elder. "Elder Yu, do you think that I don't have the ability to handle this matter?" Elder Yu shook his head. "No, it's just that this Cosmos God Court isn't a simple organization. Since we don't know much about it, we should be more cautious to avoid provoking." Tsang Ming shook his head and smiled. "He's just a mortal realm expert. Moreover, Elder Yu, these two have slaughtered tens of thousands of demonic cultivators in the devil world. If we sit back and do nothing, how do you think the demonic cultivators in the devil world will look at us?" Just as Elder Yu was about to speak, Tsang Ming suddenly stood up. "Pass down my order, head to the mortal world." Head to the mortal world. The moment this order was given, the entire devil world was in an uproar. Many demonic cultivators even shouted the slogan, "Destroy the Cosmos God Court, destroy the law." Chapter 1585. The Human Realm. Not long after, Yi Xian and the others appeared on an enormous teleportation platform. Not too far away from them stood some demons, and they were in charge of maintaining the teleportation formations. The demons were first stunned when they saw Yi Xian's group, and then they were about to charge towards Yi Xian's group. However, in the next moment, a flying dagger suddenly flashed past them. Hiss! Over a dozen demons' heads flew into the air. Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian. Let's go. With that, she walked off into the distance. Yi Xian shook his head and smiled. This woman is quite violent. It's obvious that she doesn't have a good impression of these demons. However, that's normal. These demons treat humans like they've killed their parents. As long as it's a human, they wouldn't have a good impression of them. The group advanced. Around an hour later, they arrived before an ancient city. The city of humans. This city was the last pure land for humans in the infernal realm. Humans in other places would either be enslaved or tortured to death. Only here could humans live with dignity. And it was all because of a single person. The Tao ancestor. All those years ago, he'd established his orthodoxy here and used his formidable strength to fight the realm lords of the four realms, forcing them to acknowledge his position in the human realm. However, both sides had agreed that humans from the human realm could not leave the human realm. Otherwise, they would be responsible for their own lives. Although the Tao ancestor was strong, he couldn't save all humans. Because if both sides continued to fight, then it would be a life and death struggle. Perhaps the Tao ancestor could survive, but countless humans would definitely die. Thus, the Tao ancestor had stopped. When they arrived at the city, Yi Xian noticed that the city gates were tightly shut. At this moment, a human man suddenly appeared on the city walls. He looked down at Yi Xian and the others. You're the ones who killed the demons. Obviously, everyone in the human realm knew what Yi Xian and Mu Xiaodao had done. Down below, Yi Xian nodded. Yes. The man suddenly said angrily, you killed the demons, yet you've come to the human realm. Are you trying to drag us down? Hearing this, Yi Xian was stunned. Mu Xiaodao furrowed his brows. Meanwhile, the man suddenly said angrily, all of you killed the devils, so the devils in the devil dimension won't let all of you off, yet all of you still came to the mortal dimension. Do all of you know that you'll implicate all of us? With Mu Xiaodao's explosive temper, she was about to make a move but was stopped by Yi Xian. Yi Xian nodded. You're right. How about this? We were the ones who killed the devil dwellers, so you guys let my two friends in. The two of us will leave this place and lure the devil dwellers away. The man stared at Yi Xian. Dream on. Yi Xian was speechless. At this moment, a group of human soldiers suddenly appeared on the city walls. These soldiers were all holding longbows, and they were already aiming at Yi Xian and the others. The man in the lead held a spear in his hand. He pointed his bow at Yi Xian with an indifferent look on his face. Get out of here. Don't drag us down with you. Yi Xian thought for a moment and said, I don't quite understand. Humans are in such a miserable state. Why can't they unite? The man spoke fiercely, unite? Do you know that killing the devil dwellers is equivalent to infuriating all the devils in the devil dimension? Not only will they not let all of you off, they might even vent their anger on the entire mortal dimension. Yi Xian was about to speak when a voice resounded from the city walls. Li Feng, we can't let them leave. It was a human woman who was around the age of 20, and she was very beautiful. She gazed coldly at Yi Xian and the others. They've infuriated all the devils in the devil dimension. Not only will they not let them off, they won't let us off as well. There's only one way to stop them from venting their anger on us, and that's to capture them and hand them over to the devils in the devil dimension. The man called Li Feng's eyes narrowed when he heard this, and then he waved his right hand. It didn't take long for a few dozen human experts to appear behind Yi Xian and the others. Obviously, they weren't allowing Yi Xian and the others to leave. Meanwhile, Lin Yan, who stood by Yi Xian's side, spoke angrily, we're all humans. Even if all of you don't want to help, how can you hit us when we're down? Li Feng's face was expressionless. Why are all of you killing the devils? Lin Yan spoke angrily, the devils want to kill us. Li Feng spoke angrily, what does it have to do with us? Lin Yan was furious to the point of almost going berserk. Mu Xiaodao suddenly looked at Yi Xian. I suddenly feel that even though you're a bit cheap, you're still a man. But at least you're a man. As she spoke, she raised her head to look at Li Feng, who stood on the city walls. I don't think there's anything wrong with all of you not helping us. After all, this is your right. Moreover, all of you don't owe us anything. But don't you feel that what you said is very cold-blooded? Just like what this bitchy said, the human race is already in such a miserable state. Even if you don't help us, you shouldn't go so far as to hit us when we're down, right? Yi Xian glanced at Mu Xiaodao and felt slightly surprised in his heart. In his impression, this woman was rarely reasonable. This woman would only be reasonable if she couldn't win. The woman on the city walls spoke coldly, cold-blooded. Hitting us when we're down? Then do you know that all the devils in the devil dimension will hate us when you come to our mortal dimension? Have all of you thought about our situation? Yi Xian thought for a moment and said, let's go. Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian and didn't say anything. They were about to leave. At this moment, the woman suddenly spoke angrily, you can't leave. As soon as she finished speaking, the experts in front of Yi Xian and the others were about to attack. Yi Xian and the others stopped. Yi Xian turned to look at the woman, and the woman stared fixedly at him. If all of you leave, the devils will definitely not let this matter rest. They'll definitely vent their anger on us, so all of you can't leave. Yi Xian smiled, then what do you intend to do? The woman gazed at Yi Xian for a short moment. The devils will only be appeased if all of you die. So, all of you must die. As she spoke, she waved her right hand and was about to give the order to kill Yi Xian and the others. Right at this moment, the sky in the distance suddenly split apart, and an extremely terrifying aura suddenly assaulted them from the sky. The expressions of the human experts on the city walls instantly changed when they witnessed this scene. The woman looked up at the sky with a pale face. We're finished. The devils are here. We're finished. As she spoke, she seemed to have thought of something, and she suddenly pointed angrily at Yi Xian and the others. It's all because of all of you. All of you lowly humans. The devils want to kill all of you, so why did all of you resist? Why don't all of you just die? Fuck. Yi Xian was dumbstruck when he heard this. Needless to say, this woman's words had truly toppled his worldview. He knew that human nature was ugly, but he hadn't expected it to be ugly to this extent. Yi Xian turned to look at Mu Xiaodao. Looking at this woman, I suddenly feel that you're not bad. To be honest, although Mu Xiaodao was an opponent, and a life-and-death opponent at that, he still respected Mu Xiaodao quite a bit. At least this woman wasn't so ugly. Mu Xiaodao's expression was calm. She opened her palm and a flying dagger suddenly appeared. At this moment, Yi Xian had already charged forward. He really couldn't hold it in any longer. He wanted to smash this woman's dog head. However, just as he approached the city walls, a powerful force suddenly surged out from above the city walls. Bang! Yi Xian was directly jolted back to his original spot. City barrier formation. Yi Xian glanced at the city walls, and a huge screen of light had suddenly appeared on the city walls. It was somewhat familiar. After all, he had also cultivated the Tao scripture, and this formation had the aura of the Tao scripture. Obviously, this formation was set up by a Tao ancestor. At this moment, the sky in the distance suddenly split open, and a middle-aged man walked out. The one who walked out was the young realm lord of the devil world, and behind him was a densely packed group of devil experts. Among them, there were more than 20 heavenly vigor realm experts and more than 100 divine vigor realm experts. As for the rest, there were hundreds of consolidation realm experts. This formation was a bit strong. Vast Ming looked down at Yi Xian and the rest, and finally, his gaze landed on Mu Xiaodao. You're from the Cosmos God Court. Mu Xiaodao nodded, yes. Vast Ming laughed lightly. Did the Cosmos God Court give you the guts? Mu Xiaodao looked at Vast Ming, but didn't speak. At this moment, the woman on the city wall suddenly bowed to Vast Ming. I'm Han Meng, greeting the respected young realm lord of the devil world. Vast Ming looked at Han Meng, and Han Meng hurriedly said, Young realm lord, these humans have nothing to do with us. The moment they arrived, we surrounded them, and prepared to capture them and send them to the devil world. Vast Ming laughed, you are a human. And they are also humans. Han Meng bowed again, although they are humans, we have nothing to do with them. These humans killed the devils of the devil world, and their actions are heinous. We are willing to assist the young realm lord in capturing them. Yi Xian looked at Han Meng, and gave her a thumbs up, you really know how to lick people. Han Meng glanced at Yi Xian, and said sarcastically, you're about to die, and you still want to talk. What a joke. Yi Xian was about to speak, but at this moment Vast Ming suddenly laughed, human, Kiki, as he spoke, he looked at Mu Xiaodao, since your confidence is from the Cosmos God Court, how about this? I'll give you a chance, you can call for help now. Call for help. Yi Xian walked to Mu Xiaodao's side, and pulled on Mu Xiaodao's sleeves, call for help. Just like how you beat me, beat him up. Mu Xiaodao looked at Vast Ming, are you sure? Vast Ming nodded, and smiled, I'm sure. Mu Xiaodao opened his palm, and a token suddenly rushed into the sky. In the next instant, that token directly disappeared into the depths of space. Yi Xian blinked, who did you call? Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, the Cosmos Keeper of Order of this world. Yi Xian nodded, those Cosmos Keepers of Order weren't weak. Calling them over, along with him and Mu Xiaodao, they should be able to deal with these devils. Not long later, a dozen figures suddenly appeared in the sky. Very soon, those dozen figures appeared in front of Mu Xiaodao, and the leader was a man. After the man rushed to the scene, he scanned the surroundings. When he saw Firmament Ming, his expression changed drastically. In the next moment, he ran in front of Firmament Ming and bowed respectfully, I am Cosmos God Court's Keeper of Order, Qi Shuai. Greetings young world lord. The rest of the Keepers of Order also saluted respectfully. Seeing this, Yi Xian was dumbfounded. Mu Xiaodao's expression turned even uglier. Yi Xian tugged at Mu Xiaodao's sleeve again. Xiaodao. I'm a little embarrassed now. What about you? Chapter 1586. Needless to say, Yi Xian was a bit stunned. He didn't expect these enforcers to be so respectful to the demon realm young realm lord. This wasn't normal. Mu Xiaodao's expression was also gloomy. On the other side, the young realm lord Ming Chang suddenly laughed. After laughing for a while, he pointed at Mu Xiaodao, Qi Shuai, she called you here. Hearing this, Qi Shuai looked at Mu Xiaodao. When he saw Mu Xiaodao, he frowned, who are you? Yi Xian blinked, you don't know her? Qi Shuai was expressionless, nope. Yi Xian gave a thumbs up, awesome. You don't even know the protector of the laws of the universe. The protector of the laws of the universe. Hearing this, Qi Shuai's expression changed. She looked at Mu Xiaodao and said with a trembling voice, you are the protector of the laws of the universe. Mu Xiaodao looked at Qi Shuai, are there only a few of you? Qi Shuai shook her head, the boss isn't here. At this moment, Ming Chang suddenly laughed, the protector of the laws of the universe? Interesting. Mu Xiaodao looked at Ming Chang, is it interesting? Ming Chang laughed, can we start fighting now? Hearing this, Qi Shuai's expression changed. He hurriedly said, this is a misunderstanding. A big misunderstanding. Saying this, he hurriedly walked in front of Mu Xiaodao and said, hurry up and apologize to the young realm lord. Hearing this, Yi Xian shook his head, damn it. When you guys beat me, none of you were afraid of death, as if your lives were worthless. Why are you guys like this when you beat others? This is infuriating. He didn't forget that in the 9th dimension, those cosmic enforcers really dared to fight with their lives on the line. Even in death, none of them were afraid. Mu Xiaodao looked at Qi Shuai, me, apologize? Qi Shuai hurriedly nodded and said anxiously, hurry up and apologize. Otherwise, even our Universe Law Enforcement Hall will be implicated, you. Qi Shuai's voice suddenly stopped because a flying knife was at his throat. Qi Shuai's eyes widened. You, Mu Xiaodao shook her head. Damn it. How did you guys end up like this? With that, she raised her hand and slapped him. Pa. Qi Shuai was sent flying. As he flew, his physical body shattered, leaving only his soul behind. Seeing this scene, the enforcers were stunned. Qi Shuai was also dumbfounded. Mu Xiaodao looked at Firmament Ming and the rest, but she didn't say anything. Seeing this, Yi Xian's expression immediately changed. Miss Mu, you're not planning to run away, are you? Damn it. He had almost forgotten that this woman liked to betray her teammates. As long as she couldn't beat him, she would definitely flee. If this woman ran away now, he would definitely not be able to defeat so many people. Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian. Am I that kind of person? The corner of Yi Xian's mouth twitched. Damn it, aren't you that kind of person? At this moment, Firmament Ming suddenly laughed and said, Protector of the laws of the universe, are you still human? If you call, I can wait for you. Mu Xiaodao gazed at Firmament. I'll call you Motherf *Ker. As soon as she finished speaking, she opened her palm, and a flying knife suddenly flew out. Hiss. A ray of saber light flashed through the battlefield. In the distance, Firmament Ming's expression instantly changed, and he suddenly smashed his fist forward. Bang! Firmament retreated explosively. As soon as he stopped, Firmament Ming's entire right arm fell off his shoulder. Firmament Ming was stunned, and then he said fiercely, Kill her. As soon as he finished speaking, the experts by his side charged at Mu Xiaodao. At this moment, Mu Xiaodao opened her palm and a flying knife appeared in her hand. In the next moment, she slowly closed her eyes and an illusory flying knife suddenly appeared above her head. At the same time, her soul left its sheath and grabbed the flying knife. Yi Xian's eyelids twitched when he saw this. Damn it. I was hit by this move all those years ago. Mu Xiaodao immediately went all out. After Mu Xiaodao's soul grabbed the flying knife, she suddenly slashed forward. God Slayer. As soon as her voice resounded, a flying knife suddenly tore through the air. Hiss. The heavens and the earth were torn apart. The dozen or so demon cultivator powerhouses in the lead were destroyed on the spot, and the remaining demon cultivator powerhouses were directly forced back by the saber force. Meanwhile, another flying knife appeared in Mu Xiaodao's hand, and it flew forward in the next moment. Hiss. A head flew into the air in the distance. Moreover, another flying knife appeared in Mu Xiaodao's hand. Just like that, head after head flew into the air incessantly, and it was an extremely bloody scene. It was a slaughter. Even though those experts were at the heavenly fate realm, Mu Xiaodao was at the mortal realm, so they weren't able to resist Mu Xiaodao's flying knives at all. However, there were many of them, and it didn't take long for over a dozen of them to arrive in front of Mu Xiaodao. Meanwhile, Yi Xian appeared in front of Mu Xiaodao, and then he suddenly smashed his fist forward. Bang! He punched out, and the demon at the very front was blasted away. But at this moment, another demon had already arrived in front of him. Yi Xian was just about to attack when a flying dagger suddenly stabbed into the demon's head. Hiss! That devil was instantly sliced into pieces. Mu Xiaodao glanced at Yi Xian. Is your father really your father? He actually made you so weak. Yi Xian instantly felt sorrow from the bottom of his heart. Perhaps I was picked up. Meanwhile, Mu Xiaodao and Yi Xian were about to attack again, but they suddenly turned around. As soon as they did, two rays of white light blasted towards them. Yi Xian's expression changed, and he swiftly swept his arms horizontally. Mu Xiaodao swiftly slashed down as well. Bang! An expanse of white light exploded, and then both of them were blasted over 1 kilometer away. Both of them were stunned when they stopped moving. Because it wasn't the devil that attacked them, but the humans on the city walls. It was the humans who attacked them with formations. Not only that, a group of human experts had unknowingly surrounded the little girl and Lin Yan, and 2 of them had even placed their daggers on their throats. Han Meng looked coldly at Yi Xian and Lin Yan. Young world lord, my mortal world is willing to lend you a hand to kill these 2 humans. As she spoke, many strange runes suddenly appeared on the city walls, and these runes were flowing with strange energy. Formations. Down there, Yi Xian looked at Han Meng. You silly woman, are you retarded? I'm King convinced. Can't you see how ferocious we are? Han Meng said angrily, you 2 idiots. Don't you know that he is the young world lord of the devil world? If you hurt him, all of us humans will be buried with you. Yi Xian said angrily, fuck you. Is the young world lord that awesome? Don't you know that I am the founder of the Cosmos God Court, and the laws of the universe were created by me, you? At this point, he suddenly stopped. Fuck. I actually forgot that Mu Xiaodao was here. That's embarrassing. Mu Xiaodao looked at Yi Xian. Speak. Continue speaking. Yi Xian was about to speak when Han Meng suddenly ridiculed, Cosmos God Court? What kind of trash is that? How can it be compared to the devil world? Yi Xian, Mu Xiaodao looked at Han Meng, and in the next moment, the flying knife in her hands suddenly vanished. In the distance, Han Meng's face changed drastically, and she hurriedly said, formations. As soon as she finished speaking, a huge barrier of light rose from the city walls. Bang! Mu Xiaodao's flying knife was blocked by the barrier of light, but the barrier of light split apart, and at this moment, another flying knife slashed down. Bang! The barrier of light shattered, and before Han Meng could react, Mu Xiaodao appeared in front of her, grabbed her hair, and smashed her against the city walls. Bang! The city walls split apart, and blood splattered from Han Meng's face, and she was disfigured. She didn't die. Mu Xiaodao stepped on Han Meng's chest, and she looked down at Han Meng, and laughed, I see that your chest isn't big, why are you so brainless? Han Meng looked at Mu Xiaodao resentfully, if you dare to hurt me, my grandfather will not let you off. Mu Xiaodao directly slapped her. Pa! Han Meng's face was directly deformed from the slap. Ah! You damned slut! You dare to humiliate me! Han Meng suddenly roared hysterically. Mu Xiaodao shook her head, you are so arrogant to humans, but you bow and scrape like a dog to the devil world. Isn't it good to be a human? Why must you be someone else's dog? Han Meng stared resentfully at Mu Xiaodao, and didn't speak. Mu Xiaodao slapped her again. Pa! Han Meng's teeth were directly smashed into pieces. Mu Xiaodao blinked, what are you looking at? Get up and hit me. As she spoke, she slapped her again. Pa! Han Meng's entire face was distorted beyond recognition. Mu Xiaodao giggled, and she moved her face in front of Han Meng. Get up and hit me. I really want to get hit. Pooh. Han Meng was so angry that she vomited a mouthful of blood. Below, Yi Xian shook his head, this Mu Xiaodao is also despicable. At this time, Mu Xiaodao suddenly lifted Han Meng up, and said with a smile, you can't hit me, are you angry? Han Meng stared at Mu Xiaodao, and said resentfully, the devil world will not let you off. They will not let you off. Below. Yi Xian shook his head. You said that this woman has no backbone. But when facing Mu Xiaodao, she was quite unyielding, and did not even beg for mercy. But you said that she has backbone. But when facing the devil world, she is like a dog, indeed. No matter where, some people are like this. When facing their own people, they are incomparably unyielding and ruthless, but when facing outsiders, they are really like a dog, as if the outsiders are their own father, afraid that they will not be able to serve them well. Many people really have a servile nature. P.S. Thank you little magic master, flying bull, and countless readers' gifts. I really thank everyone. This is the first time in a year that the monthly votes have entered the top 10. Thank you to those readers who silently read and silently voted. Seeing you all vote, I am very touched. If not for the fact that I have a few 100 million project to discuss, I can't wait to write 10 chapters. Chapter 1587. On the city wall, Mu Xiaodao was silent. She suddenly felt sorrowful. She had never thought that a person could be so servile to such an extent. Mu Xiaodao did not kill Han Meng. She threw her on the city wall and walked down the city wall. Killing such a person would only dirty her knife. Below the city wall, the experts surrounding the little girl and Lin Yan suddenly had their throats pierced by a flying knife. All of them fell to the ground. Mu Xiaodao walked to Yi Xian's side. She looked afar. At this moment, Vast Ming and the rest were on high alert. Fear. The power that Mu Xiaodao displayed was too terrifying. Mu Xiaodao suddenly said, "I want to return to the Cosmos God Court." Yi Xian turned to look at Mu Xiaodao. "Return? Can you bring me back?" Mu Xiaodao looked at Yi Xian. "Are you sure?" Yi Xian hurriedly nodded his head. Mu Xiaodao said indifferently, "Sure. Follow me back and we will reach the headquarters of the Cosmos God Court." Yi Xian blinked his eyes. "What do you mean?" Mu Xiaodao smiled. "What do you think?" Yi Xian's face was filled with black lines. Damn it. If he reached the headquarters of the Cosmos God Court, would he still be able to leave? Mu Xiaodao looked at the little girl and Lin Yan. "The two of them can follow me." Yi Xian looked at Lin Yan and the little girl. He waved his hand and the two of them walked in front of him and Mu Xiaodao. Yi Xian smiled. "The two of you, follow Miss Mu." Lin Yan nodded. "All right." The little girl looked at Yi Xian. "Brother, what about you?" Yi Xian smiled. "I will not return for now." The little girl hesitated for a while before saying, "Are you really the founder of the Cosmos God Court? Also, were you the one who created the laws of the universe?" Yi Xian. Mu Xiaodao looked at Yi Xian and gave him a thumbs up. "You can brag." Yi Xian smiled and was about to speak when the little girl looked at Yi Xian. "I believe you." Yi Xian blushed with shame. "Little sister, I don't even believe myself. Looks like I can't brag to kids in the future." Mu Xiaodao suddenly said, "I'm leaving now. I want to return to the Cosmos God Court to explain the situation here. After which, I will ask the Cosmos God Court to send people to take over this place." As she spoke, she took out a strange stone and crushed it. As soon as she crushed it, a huge teleportation array appeared in front of her. Yi Xian's expression changed. "Miss Mu, aren't you going to get rid of these people first?" Mu Xiaodao blinked. "Do I know you that well?" Yi Xian was speechless. At this moment, the teleportation array was suddenly activated. Just as Yi Xian was about to speak, Mu Xiaodao added, "Also, I want to tell the experts of the Cosmos God Court that you are here. You are on the wanted list. After killing you, they will be rewarded handsomely." Yi Xian's face was filled with black lines. Is there a need to be so ruthless? Mu Xiaodao blinked. There's something even more ruthless. As she spoke, she suddenly shouted, "Guardian Yi, you stay here and delay them. I will go back and call for reinforcements. When I bring people back, we will slaughter the demon world and leave no one alive. You must hold on. Guardian Yi." As she spoke, Mu Xiaodao smiled mischievously. After which, she disappeared with Lin Yan and the little girl. Yi Xian was dumbfounded. His mind was in a mess. It's over. This was the first thought that appeared in his mind. In the surroundings, all of the demons' gazes fell on Yi Xian. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. They had just heard that the woman was going back to call for reinforcements. After which, she would slaughter all the demons in the demon world. Moreover, they found out from that woman that this human before them was a guardian of the laws of the Cosmos Court. It wasn't just the demons that were looking at Yi Xian. The humans on the city walls were looking at Yi Xian as well. Especially Han Meng, who was still alive. Her gaze was filled with resentment as if Yi Xian had humiliated her. Yi Xian hesitated for a moment before he said, "Would all of you believe me if I said that I'm not from the Cosmos Court?" In the sky, Firmament stared fixedly at Yi Xian. "Do you think we would believe you?" Yi Xian was speechless. He'd been tricked by Mu Xiaodao this time. Right at this moment, Firmament suddenly spoke fiercely. "Kill him." As soon as he finished speaking, the experts behind him charged directly at Yi Xian. Yi Xian didn't run. Because he couldn't run at all. If his cultivation hadn't been sealed, then he could still flee by flying on his sword. But now, he only had his physical strength. How could he flee? He could only fight. Yi Xian closed his eyes slowly while he clenched his fists tightly. Meanwhile, a Heavenly Way realm expert had charged in front of him. Yi Xian suddenly opened his eyes and smashed his fist forward. Bang! The space in front of Yi Xian trembled violently while he retreated explosively to the bottom of the city wall. He just stopped when another expert charged in front of him, and this expert smashed his fist towards his head. A wisp of a savage smile arose on the corners of Yi Xian's mouth, and he suddenly smashed his fist forward. Bang! The space in front of them exploded apart while Yi Xian was blasted flying. In the end, he smashed heavily against the city wall, causing the entire city wall to tremble violently. Fortunately, there was a formation, otherwise, the city wall would have probably collapsed on the spot. Yi Xian had just descended to the ground when another 10+ people charged in front of him. Yi Xian roared furiously as he charged forward and smashed his fist forward. He directly went head-on against them. However, the current him could not withstand it at all. After all, his current fleshy body was merely at the consolidation realm, while these experts in front of him were mostly at the Heaven Way realm. It was also fortunate that Mu Xiaodao had killed some Heaven Way realm experts previously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have any chance at all. Even so, he still had to face 7 Heaven Way realm experts right now. Most importantly, the other party chose to gang up on him. If it was a one-on-one battle, he wouldn't be afraid even if he faced a Heaven Way realm expert. But the problem was that the other party was ganging up on him. Very soon, Yi Xian was beaten up violently. However, relying on his powerful fleshy body, those people were unable to kill him for a while. Of course, this was also because he had been dodging fatal blows the entire time. Bang! At this time, Yi Xian was suddenly blasted flying. He had just stopped when he suddenly turned around and smashed a fist out. Rumble. Where the fist landed, the space directly collapsed. But before he could retract his fist, his abdomen was blasted by a fist once more. Bang! Yi Xian flew out once more. This time, he flew several thousand feet away. Finally, he smashed heavily onto the ground, causing the entire ground to tremble violently, then split open. Those Fiend Man experts did not give him the chance but charged over once more. Yi Xian leaped up fiercely. But he had just leaped up when a long spear suddenly tore through the air, stabbing straight at his glabella. Yi Xian leaned to the side, directly dodging this fatal spear. However, before he could make a move, a powerhouse directly blasted a punch onto his back. Bang! Yi Xian's entire person directly flew out. But he had yet to land when another powerhouse rushed in front of him. In midair, Yi Xian's arms suddenly crossed horizontally, defending. Bang! Yi Xian was directly blasted by a powerful force, his entire person plummeting from the sky, finally smashing heavily onto the ground. Bang! Yi Xian had just landed. The place he landed directly became a giant pit. And from all directions, numerous powerful forces blasted towards him ceaselessly. On the ground, Yi Xian flashed about, dodging those attacks. At this moment, Firmament Ming suddenly vanished on the spot. In the distance, Yi Xian's pupils suddenly constricted. He suddenly blasted out a punch, and this punch directly blasted onto a fist. Bang! The space in front of Yi Xian suddenly turned pitch black, and his entire person was instantly blasted out. This time, he flew directly for thousands of feet. After landing on the ground, Yi Xian's physical body directly cracked, and fresh blood flowed out. In the surroundings, those fiend men were about to make a move, but Firmament Ming suddenly stopped them. He looked at Yi Xian, who was lying on the ground in the distance, and mocked, "Just this?" In the distance, Yi Xian's hands pressed against the ground, and fresh blood flowed ceaselessly from his mouth. Power. Yi Xian stared fixedly at the ground. His cultivation was sealed. He really wanted to use his sword. As long as he used his sword, he could kill everyone here. However, his cultivation was sealed. Thinking of this, Yi Xian suddenly frowned. If his cultivation was sealed, he couldn't use his sword. He was an ordinary sword. What was ordinary? Ordinary was real. Without a sword, was he not a swordsman? A swordsman was a swordsman. Only those with a sword could be called a swordsman. Did a swordsman cultivate the sword, or the heart? Naturally, it was to cultivate the heart. The heart was there. The sword was there. Thinking of this, bang! Suddenly, a powerful sword intent swept out from Yi Xian's body. With the appearance of this sword intent, Yi Xian's entire body trembled. His cultivation was also recovering at an extremely fast speed. And in his hand, a sword quietly condensed. Heart sword. A swordsman cultivated the heart. If there was a sword in the heart, then everything was a sword. Yi Xian slowly closed his eyes. He tightly grasped the sword in his hand. The sword in his hand didn't exist, because this was a heart sword formed from his heart. Sword. He thought of what Big Brother Swordsman had said to him. Use your heart to control the sword. Wherever your heart thinks, your sword will be there. Thinking of this, Yi Xian suddenly slashed out with his sword. Qi. In the distance, a Heavenway Realm expert's head flew off. The demonic people didn't come back to their senses. By the time the devils came back to their senses, another Heavenway Realm expert's head had flown off. Seeing this, the expressions of the Heavenway Realm experts instantly changed. One of the demonic people looked at Yi Xian in shock and said with a trembling voice, You are above the mortal sword. Above the mortal sword. In the distance, Yi Xian slowly closed his eyes. Above the mortal sword? That's right. He was now above the mortal sword. He didn't know what was above the mortal sword, but he knew that he had already surpassed the mortal sword. Thinking of this, Yi Xian could not help but burst into laughter. Now, these people were like ants in front of him. Yi Xian was about to attack again when a sword howl suddenly resounded from within him. The sword qi that the green-robed man had left in his body. Yi Xian was stunned at first, and then his expression changed drastically. In the blink of an eye, the heart sword in his hand vanished, and his cultivation was sealed once more. Yi Xian was stunned, and then he wanted to charge through the seal once more. However, it was utterly useless. Even he, who had transcended ordinary swords, could not break the seal of that wisp of sword qi. Yi Xian suddenly felt sorrow in his heart. He knelt on the ground, pounded the ground with both hands, and cried loudly, Heavens! O Mother Earth! How could there be a father who would screw his son over like this? You're playing me to death. Holy shit. Ah. Chapter 1588. Above the Mortal Realm. What did Yi Xian feel now? It was like two people had just entered the bridal chamber and were about to reach orgasm, yet they suddenly became impotent. Impotent. Yi Xian felt extremely wronged right now. He'd relied on his own ability to surpass the mortal realm. On what basis did he seal me? On what basis? There's no fucking justice in this world. Yi Xian felt wronged to the point he wanted to cry. This father. The demons in the distance were stunned. What's wrong with this human? Needless to say, Vast Ming and the others were slightly afraid of Yi Xian. Just now, Yi Xian had casually killed two Heavenly Way realm experts with 2 strikes of his sword. Above the mortal realm. That wasn't just an ordinary level of terror. Not to mention above the mortal realm, even the mortal realm was extremely terrifying. After all, the woman with the flying dagger was only at the peak of the mortal realm. But she could easily kill Heavenly Way realm experts. As for above the mortal realm, meanwhile, an old man by Vast Ming's side spoke in a low voice, "Young World Lord, retreat for now." Vast Ming stared fixedly at Yi Xian, who lay on the ground in the distance, and no one knew what he was thinking. The old man continued, "Young World Lord, he's absolutely not an ordinary person. He's above the mortal realm, and we're not a match for him." At this moment, Yi Xian, who was in the distance, suddenly raised his head. He looked at Ming Qian and grinned. His smile was somewhat demonic. The young world lord's expression changed when he saw this, and he didn't hesitate to turn around and leave. The rest of the demon dweller experts also fled. Vast Ming didn't suspect Yi Xian because the aura of the sword Dao that Yi Xian emanated earlier had terrified him. That aura couldn't be deceived. Right at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly said, "Stop. Stop." As soon as these words were spoken, Firmament Ming instantly stopped, and the rest of the demonic dwellers stopped as well. Vast Ming turned around to look at Yi Xian. At this moment, Yi Xian had his hands behind his back and an indifferent expression on his face. His bearing as an expert was on full display. Vast Ming hesitated for a moment and said, "You." Yi Xian looked at Ming Qian. "Do you want to live? Do you want to live?" The moment he said that, Vast Ming's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly said, "Your Excellency. My father is the realm lord of the demon world." Yi Xian asked, "Do you know who my father is?" After saying that, he regretted it. Damn it. There should be very few people who knew the green-robed man. Ming Tsang glanced at Yi Xian. Just as he was about to ask, Yi Xian suddenly pointed at Han Meng, who was on the city wall. "I don't like this woman." Ming Tsang was stunned. In the next moment, he made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and Han Meng fell into his grasp. Han Meng looked at Ming Qian in fear. Young Realm Lord, Ming Quintessence didn't even look at her. Instead, he looked at Yi Xian. "Sir, how do you want her to die?" Yi Xian's expression was calm. "Let her beg for death." Ming Quintessence was stunned, and then he said, "I understand." As soon as he finished speaking, he gazed at Han Meng. Han Meng begged, "Young Realm Lord, please spare my life. I'm willing to do anything for you." A wisp of ridicule arose on the corners of Ming Quintessence's mouth. "Are you even worthy?" As soon as he finished speaking, he swung Han Meng, and she was nailed to the city wall in the distance. A moment later, a strand of flames suddenly enveloped Han Meng. A hysterical and shrill cry resounded. The flames didn't burn Han Meng to death, and they were gradually devouring her body instead. Ming Quintessence gazed at Yi Xian, hesitated for a moment, and then said, "Is that enough?" Yi Xian nodded slightly. "Fuck off." Ming Quintessence didn't hesitate to turn around and flee. It didn't take long for the group of demon experts to vanish into the horizon. Meanwhile, Han Meng suddenly gazed at Yi Xian, and she spoke resentfully, "Human. I curse you. You'll die a horrible death. You'll die a horrible death." Yi Xian gazed at Han Meng. "Even until now, you still haven't figured it out. You kneel down and lick the boots of others, but you're even worse than a dog in the eyes of others. Isn't it good to be a human?" Han Meng roared furiously, "You'll die a horrible death. You'll die a horrible death." Yi Xian blinked, and then he turned around to face Han Meng. He twisted his butt and smiled, "I'll fucking die. I'll piss you off to death." As soon as he finished speaking, he even farted. Pooh. A mouthful of blood essence sprayed from Han Meng's mouth, and then her figure twitched. It wasn't long before there was no more movement from her body. She'd been infuriated to death. However, her eyes were still opened wide, and they were staring fixedly at Yi Xian. Yi Xian paid no further attention to Han Meng, and he swiftly vanished into the distance. His cultivation was currently sealed. If vast underworld and the others were to turn back, then he would be finished. Ming Quintessence suddenly stopped moving somewhere in the sky, and then he frowned. Something's off. An old man by his side asked. What's wrong? Ming Quintessence's eyes narrowed slightly. Why did he let us go? All the other demon experts frowned when they heard this. Right. Why did that human let us go? Ming Quintessence spoke in a low voice. We were deceived. An old demon shook his head, but he killed 2 heavenly Dao realm experts with a casual swing of his sword. Moreover, his aura has clearly surpassed that woman with the flying dagger. Ming Quintessence shook his head. If he really is above the mortal realm, then it's even more impossible for him to let us go. So, there's only a single explanation for why he let us go, and it's that he isn't above the mortal realm. The old man hesitated for a moment before he said, let's go back. Ming Quintessence looked towards the horizon. If he's still there, then it proves that he's truly fearless and has attained the mortal realm. If he's gone. His face turned gloomy as he spoke, let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, he vanished on the spot. All the experts from the demon realm vanished along with it. It didn't take long for Ming Quintessence and the others to appear before the city of humans. Meanwhile, Yi Xian was nowhere to be seen. Ming Quintessence's face instantly became ferocious when he witnessed this scene. How dare you deceive me? The expressions of all the demon experts became extremely unsightly. We've actually been deceived. Ming Quintessence suddenly spoke in a low voice. It's absolutely impossible for him to be above the mortal realm. He definitely utilized some sort of divine ability or treasure to instantly kill those 2 heavenly Dao realm experts. As he spoke, he glanced at the surroundings and said furiously, search immediately. Find him at all costs. All the demon experts retreated when they heard this. If they didn't kill Yi Xian this time, then the demon dimension would truly lose face. Especially Ming Quintessence. As the young lord of the demon dimension, he'd actually been played by a human. If news of this were to spread. No, it might have already spread. Ming Quintessence's expression instantly became even more ferocious when he thought up to this point. In next to no time, practically all the experts of the demon dimension had been dispatched to track down Yi Xian. On the other hand, because Yi Xian and the others hadn't died, all the demons in the demon dimension were in an uproar. It wasn't long before practically all the demons in the demon dimension were searching for Yi Xian. This time, the demon dimension was unprecedentedly united. Yi Xian sat cross-legged on the ground in an unknown mountain range. He opened his palm with the intention of forming the heart sword. However, every single time he was about to succeed, it would be suppressed by the strand of sword chi within him. That strand of sword chi didn't just suppress his cultivation, it even suppressed his cultivation in the sword Dao. Yi Xian gazed at his palm and fell into deep thought. Since the green-clothed man had sent him here, then it was definitely not that simple. Was he trying to temper his sword Dao? If he was, then the seal should have been removed after he broke through to the mortal sword realm. However, he hadn't. In other words, tempering his sword Dao was probably just one of the reasons, and there was definitely another objective. Tempering his physical body? Yi Xian looked at his body. In fact, his injuries were quite serious. Because he didn't have the purple gas or the immortal bloodline, his recovery speed could be said to be at the speed of a turtle. However, he discovered that his physical body seemed to have undergone some changes. It had become more resistant to beatings. Sensing this scene, Yi Xian's expression suddenly became strange. Without thinking too much, Yi Xian began to recall the previous battle. It had to be said that although he had been beaten miserably, he had gained a lot. The biggest gain was breaking through to the mortal realm. If the seal in his body was removed, and the crazy demon bloodline and immortal bloodline were also unsealed, with his current strength, he should be able to defeat Mu Xiaodao. Unfortunately, that strand of sword chi was too terrifying. Even if he had reached the mortal sword realm, he still couldn't break the seal of that strand of sword chi. It was just a strand of sword qi. Thinking of this, Yi Xian shook his head and sighed. He knew that there should be a big gap between him and the Three Swords realm. Without thinking too much, Yi Xian looked at his physical body. He knew that under the situation where his cultivation and sword Dao cultivation were sealed, he must improve his physical body. And to improve his physical body, he must have the blood of powerful demonic beasts. Improve his physical body by taking a beating? It's not impossible. He probably wouldn't be able to improve it for at least 100 years. Moreover, he still didn't have the immortal bloodline and purple gas. If he went to take a beating, he might really be beaten to death. If he wanted to improve his physical body, he must let Xiao Ta out. How can I let Xiao Ta out? Yi Xian slowly closed his eyes. He tried to sense Xiao Ta, but he couldn't sense him at all. Not to mention Xiao Ta, he couldn't even sense the prison pagoda. As if he thought of something, Yi Xian suddenly stood up. What did it mean that the man in green had sent him here? It meant that the man in green had definitely been to this devil's domain before. And the man in green had been to the devil's domain before, that meant that the little white guy had definitely been to the devil's domain before. The little white guy had been to the devil's domain before, so he must have left behind a box. A box. When he thought of this, Yi Xian suddenly became excited. If he found the box, he would be able to find the little white guy. And the little guy would definitely be able to get Xiao Ta out and even remove the seal on his body. Because the strand of sword energy in his body would definitely give face to the little white guy. Find the box. Yi Xian stood up immediately. But very quickly, the excitement on his face slowly disappeared. Because he was unfamiliar with this place, how was he going to find the box? Especially since this place hated humans so much. Not to mention finding the box, once he went out, he would probably become the enemy of the whole world. At this moment, the space above Yi Xian's head suddenly split open. The next moment, a mysterious force quietly appeared. Yi Xian was stunned at first. The next moment, his expression changed greatly because countless blood-red threads appeared around him. The cause of disaster. Following the appearance of these blood-red threads, the sky suddenly became covered with dark clouds and countless lightning flashed. Disaster plus heavenly tribulation. When he saw this, Yi Xian's expression froze. My father. You didn't block the disaster law for me. As he said that, he turned around and ran. As he ran, he shouted angrily, I want to sever all ties with you. Sever all ties with you. P.S. Sorry, the update is late. There was a heavy downpour and a power outage. Chapter 1589. Run. Yi Xian was very clear about his current strength and he was unable to fight against this calamity. He could only run. However, he was unable to escape this calamity and heavenly tribulation. Whoosh! A bolt of lightning suddenly struck down from the top of Yi Xian's head at an incomparably fast speed. Yi Xian's expression changed and he leaped up. Just as he leaped up, the ground behind him turned into a huge crater. Being struck by the calamity, the entire ground started to crack layer by layer. Yi Xian didn't dare to look back as he fled frantically into the distance. However, no matter how he ran, he was unable to escape from the calamity and heavenly tribulation. The calamity and heavenly tribulation were like maggots on his bones, following him. In just a short while, the entire mountain range had turned into ashes under the bombardment of the calamity. As for Yi Xian, he was in a miserable state. He fled to the east and hid to the west. He didn't dare to go head-on against the calamity. Not to mention now, even if his cultivation wasn't sealed, he might not be able to go head-on against it, much less now. One bolt of lightning could destroy his soul. Yi Xian patted his chest as he ran. Big brother, can we discuss this and let me recover my strength first? That strand of sword qi didn't reply. Yi Xian said angrily, I'm going to be blasted to death. The sword qi still didn't reply. Yi Xian's face darkened. Damn it, there was no room for discussion. The more Yi Xian thought about it, the angrier he got. I relied on my own ability to reach above the ordinary sword. Why did you seal me? Based on what? Too fucking infuriating. Yi Xian was so angry that his balls hurt, both of them hurt. Just at this moment, a dozen demonic people suddenly appeared not far away from Yi Xian. Among them, there were even 2 Heavenway realm experts. When they saw Yi Xian, the dozen demonic people were instantly overjoyed. But in the next moment, their expressions changed drastically because lightning struck down from above Yi Xian's head. What kind of lightning was this? Their eyes were filled with fear. Right at this moment, Yi Xian noticed those devils as well, and he didn't hesitate to charge towards them. Seeing Yi Xian rushing over, the dozen or so devil cultivators' faces instantly changed, and they all retreated, but at this time, Yi Xian had already rushed in front of them, and a bolt of lightning just happened to descend. Boom! In the blink of an eye, more than 10 people were turned into ashes. Only Yi Xian and the 3 Heavenway realm experts were still alive. After the 3 Heaven realm experts survived, they frantically fled into the distance, while Yi Xian hurriedly chased after them. Seeing this scene, the Heaven realm expert in the lead roared furiously, "Scram!" Yi Xian laughed. "Let's play together." The Heaven Eternal realm expert suddenly stopped. He stabbed out with his spear and a powerful force forced Yi Xian to stop. At the same time, a bolt of blood lightning suddenly fell. Yi Xian's expression changed, and his arms fiercely swept towards the sky. Take it head on. He could only choose to take it head on. Boom! The blood lightning descended, and the Heaven realm expert's strength was directly shattered, while Yi Xian was also struck by that blood lightning, and he directly smashed down from the sky, crashing into the ground below. But the Heaven realm expert was also struck by that blood lightning, and his entire person was directly sent flying. On the ground below, Yi Xian suddenly jumped out. The current him, his flesh was already lacerated, especially his arms, the bones of his arms were already exposed outside. That bolt of lightning just now almost destroyed his entire body. And at this time, another bolt of blood lightning appeared in the horizon. Yi Xian's expression changed greatly, and he turned and ran. But he still charged towards those 3 Heavenway realm experts. Even if he died, he would pull a few down with him. Seeing Yi Xian charge over again, the 3 Heavenway realm experts' expressions changed greatly. Motherf asterisk Kerr, is this human crazy? The 3 of them didn't dare to take that blood lightning head on, and they turned and ran. Just like this, 3 people ran, 1 person chased, along the way blood light with lightning. How exciting. Yi Xian also had no choice at this moment. He really didn't have any way to deal with this calamity. Without bloodline power, he couldn't use the sword. How could he deal with it? Right now, he just wanted to pull a few more scapegoats down with him. Pull as many as he could. If the 3 Heavenway realm experts stopped, they could actually perish together with Yi Xian. Even leaving one behind would be fine. But clearly, the 3 of them didn't want to die, so they ran for their lives. The 3 of them were faster than Yi Xian, so the 3 of them were slowly pulling away from Yi Xian. Seeing the 3 of them disappear into the distance, Yi Xian couldn't help but curse. He lifted his head to look, and in the horizon, another bolt of blood lightning descended. Yi Xian hurriedly leaped. He had just leaped out when a bolt of divine lightning directly blasted the place he was originally at, and that place directly became a giant abyss. Yi Xian leaped again, directly disappearing into the distance. Along the way, Yi Xian's face was gloomy. He knew that he couldn't continue like this, because he had used up too much of his strength. In addition, he had been struck by that bolt of divine lightning just now, and his physical body had been damaged, so he needed to heal now. If this continued, at most in an hour, he might die under this divine lightning. What should he do? Yi Xian's face became increasingly ugly. The green-robed man sealed his own cultivation, and didn't help to block the calamity laws. He was playing with me to death. Yi Xian took a deep breath, and he stopped. He opened his palm, and in his hand, a formless will suddenly appeared. Sword will. This was the green-robed man's sword will. He had obtained it in the sword abyss, and he had used it once. But after using it once, this sword will had fallen into a deep sleep. And after such a long period of cultivation, this wisp of sword will had already recovered. This was the only way he could save his life. Yi Xian looked up, and another bolt of blood lightning fell. Yi Xian gently flipped his palm, and the wisp of sword will suddenly shot into the sky. Boom! In the sky, that bolt of divine lightning directly shattered, and the wisp of sword will shot straight into the depths of the starry sky. Soon, boom! A loud noise suddenly came from the depths of the starry sky, and then a pitch-black vortex appeared in the entire starry sky. Yi Xian looked into the depths of the starry sky, and he couldn't feel that wisp of sword will anymore. It was gone. And in the starry sky, the blood clouds slowly became illusory. Yi Xian turned and ran. He knew that the calamity hadn't been destroyed, and that the green-robed man might have only been seriously injured by that wisp of sword will. He had to recover his cultivation during this period of time. With his current cultivation that surpassed the mortal realm, if he could recover his cultivation, he would definitely be able to face this calamity head-on. Before long, Yi Xian disappeared in the boundless mountain range. Demon World, Demon City. This was the most prosperous place in the demon world, and it was also the place with the most experts in the demon world. And Yi Xian directly sneaked into Demon City. The most dangerous place was the safest place. Now that the demons were looking for him all over the world, they definitely wouldn't have thought that he would come to Demon City. This time, he didn't enter Demon City openly, but put on a large black robe and hid himself. Demon City was very prosperous, not at all inferior to the human race. It was obvious that the demons in the demon world also had their own culture. Yi Xian glanced around, and he quickly disappeared at the end of the street. After asking around in the city, Yi Xian quietly came to a library in Demon City. This library only had some ordinary ancient books, so there were no experts guarding it. After Yi Xian entered the library, he began to frantically flip through the ancient books inside. He had to first familiarize himself with the history and culture of the entire demon world in order to better survive in this place. At the same time, he also wanted to see if he could find anything about the man in green. After reading for about an hour, the sound of footsteps suddenly came from behind Yi Xian. Yi Xian turned his head, and in front of him was a demon cultivator woman. The woman looked quite young, only 16 or 17 years old. Her eyes were big and she looked somewhat cute. The demon cultivator woman looked at Yi Xian and said with a smile, "You also like to read?" Yi Xian nodded. The demon cultivator woman immediately became interested. "What do you like to read?" Yi Xian thought for a moment, then said, "History." The demon cultivator woman blinked. "You're not a demon cultivator, right?" Yi Xian's expression froze. The demon cultivator woman sized up Yi Xian, then said, "The ancient book in your hands is a basic history book. If you are a demon cultivator, it is impossible for you not to understand the basic history of the demon cultivator race. Furthermore, you are wearing a black robe, so I can't see your true face. In other words, you are most likely afraid that others will see your true face. Are you that human called Yi Xian? F***ck. Yi Xian could not help but curse. Was this woman a god? The demon cultivator woman giggled. "You must be. Because when I said your name, your hand couldn't help but tighten the grip on the book in your hand. This is your instinctive reaction." As she said that, she walked in front of Yi Xian and gently untied Yi Xian's hat. When she saw Yi Xian, the demon cultivator woman immediately said excitedly, "You really are that Yi Xian?" Yi Xian looked at the demon cultivator woman. "Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you to silence you?" The demon cultivator woman shook her head. "You are not a bad person." Yi Xian smiled and said, "Why?" The demon cultivator woman smiled and said, "Because you have protected many humans before." A heinous person will not protect others, and will not put himself in a desperate situation for others. So, you won't kill me. Yi Xian smiled faintly, but you are a demon cultivator, and I am a human. The demon cultivator woman retorted, are all demon cultivators bad? Yi Xian was speechless. The demon cultivator woman said again, you want to understand the history of demon cultivators, it is obvious that you are not a native of the demon domain. You are from the outside. Nine-dimensional universe or the distant heaven domain? As she said that, she thought about it and then said, you should be from the nine-dimensional universe, because the heaven domain is controlled by the universe enforcer, and you are clearly not on the same side as the universe law. After a moment of silence, Yi Xian asked, why? The demon cultivator woman smiled and said, the woman who was with you before is a universe protector, and she left, but you did not. Why? It is very simple, you are not on the same side. Moreover, according to what I know, when she left, she deliberately framed you. So, you should be from the nine-dimensional universe, and you might have a grudge against the universe God Court. And you are definitely not an ordinary person, because other than the universe protector, no other power can come here, even the powerful undying emperor clan of the nine-dimensional universe, but you came here. Obviously, a peerless expert sent you here, and this peerless expert's strength is definitely very terrifying, at least. As she said that, she shook her head, it is impossible to estimate. Yi Xian, the demon cultivator woman said again, your physical body is very strong, but you do not have any cultivation, this is very abnormal. In other words, your cultivation might have been sealed. If that is the case, it is very likely that you were sent here by that peerless expert to gain experience. As she said that, she looked at Yi Xian and grinned, what I said just now is just my guess, can you tell me how much you guessed correctly? Yi Xian. P.S. Once again, thank you to everyone who voted. Thank you. It has been a long time. This is the first time I am in the top 10 of the monthly votes. Bow. Chapter 1590. Inside the library hall, there was silence. Yi Xian was a little shocked in his heart. Who exactly was this devil cultivator girl in front of him? Yi Xian did not ask this question, but laughed. You know what happened in front of the human clan city, obviously you are not an ordinary person. And I can be sure that you have nothing to do with the demon realm, because if you were the demon realm, you would not let the demon realm target me and that person from the Cosmos God Court. There are two reasons why you do not hate humans. Firstly, you are most likely from the outside world, or rather, you have been to the outside world and know about the outside world. Secondly, you are kind-hearted. However, I think you should be the first. As he spoke, he sat at the side and laughed. The reason why you were able to find me is definitely because you guessed correctly. Right now, my top priority is to understand the history of the demon domain, so if I am not wrong, before you came to this library hall, you must have been to other library halls, right? The devil cultivator girl sat in front of Yi Xian and laughed. I have indeed been to the outside world, and I understand the Undying Emperor clan and the Cosmos God Court. As for being able to find you, it is indeed as you said. Yi Xian shrugged his shoulders. Miss, there must be something you need from me, right? The devil cultivator girl blinked. Why don't you guess again? Yi Xian looked at the devil cultivator girl. I don't like to show off my intelligence. Isn't it better to be more direct? The devil cultivator girl laughed. All right. Yi Xian nodded. Speak. The devil cultivator girl shook her head and laughed. No rush. Come, tell me what I can help you with. You can tell me what kind of help you want. Of course, if you want me to help you undo the seal in your body, I can't do it. Other than that, you can ask for anything else. Yi Xian looked at the devil cultivator girl. Destroy the demon realm. The devil cultivator girl blinked. Are you serious? Yi Xian laughed. Can you do it? The devil cultivator girl grinned. I can do it. Yi Xian looked at the devil cultivator girl and did not speak. The devil woman smiled and said, if you are sure, within 2 hours, I can make all the experts above the consolidation realm disappear in the imperial capital of the devil world. Yi Xian chuckled. Looks like I've met a big shot. The devil cultivator woman smiled. Obviously, you have other requests. Yi Xian suddenly said, why don't you tell me how I can help you first? The devil cultivator woman hurriedly shook her head. You are the guest, why don't you tell us your request first? Yi Xian looked at the devil cultivator woman for a moment, and said, good. I want to find a swordsman, a very, very strong swordsman. He might have come here tens of thousands of years ago, or even longer. I want to know everything about him. The demonkin lady asked, how strong is the swordsman? Yi Xian said, the invincible kind. The devil cultivator woman looked at Yi Xian, and after a moment, she said, is it a swordsman wearing a green robe? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes, he really came here. The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, 36,000 years ago, a swordsman in a green robe came to the devil domain, he was a human. Yi Xian said in a deep voice, where did he go? The devil cultivator woman said, Demon Mountain. Yi Xian frowned, Demon Mountain? The devil cultivator woman nodded, that swordsman appeared in Demon Mountain, as for what happened after that, I don't know. Yi Xian pondered, why did this cheap father go to Demon Mountain? The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, do you want to go to Demon Mountain? Yi Xian was about to speak, but the devil cultivator woman said, if you want to go, I can bring you there, and only I can bring you there. Because that place, don't talk about a human, even the young domain lord of the devil domain doesn't have the qualifications to go there. Because that place is the holy land of the entire devil domain. Yi Xian was curious, the holy land of the entire devil domain? The devil cultivator woman nodded, yes. Because that was the place where the great demon lord lived. Yi Xian said, can you tell me about this great demon lord? The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, there is nothing to say. He was once the strongest expert of the devil domain. When the great demon lord was around, the devil domain was the most terrifying, and could suppress the 9 dimensions and heaven domain. Even the cosmos god court had to give them some face. Yi Xian asked, then why did he disappear? The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, it is a secret for now. Yi Xian was silent for a long time, then said, what do you want me to help you with? The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, there is no hurry, after I help you, you can help me. Don't worry, it won't be anything that will make things difficult for you. Yi Xian looked at the devil cultivator woman and didn't say anything as he pondered in his heart. The devil cultivator woman blinked her eyes and said, currently, you don't seem to have anything worth me scheming against, right? Moreover, the devil domain is looking for you, if they find you, you might suffer. Also, that woman from the Cosmos God Court has already returned to the Cosmos God Court. When she comes, she will definitely not come alone, and your current state might be a little dangerous. Also, previously, a mountain range thousands of miles outside the city turned into ashes. This has something to do with you, right? Yi Xian smiled and said, I don't seem to have any other choice. The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, we can work together. You need me now, I also need you, moreover, I have no reason to be enemies with you, right? Yi Xian smiled and said, my name is Yi Xian. The devil cultivator woman smiled and said, Mo Xiao Shuang. Yi Xian stood up and said, then let's go. Mo Xiao Shuang also stood up and said, let's go. The two of them left the library hall, and just as they were about to leave the devil city, a devil cultivator elder suddenly appeared in front of them. The devil cultivator elder stared at Yi Xian and said, take off your black robe. Yi Xian frowned slightly. Had he been discovered? At this moment, a cold light flashed, and in the next moment, the devil cultivator elder's head flew into the air. Yi Xian turned around and saw a devil cultivator man holding a long saber standing not far away. Seeing this devil cultivator man, Yi Xian's face turned serious. Mortal realm. The devil cultivator man bowed towards Mo Xiao Shuang and was very respectful. Mo Xiao Shuang smiled and said, "Leave this to him. Let's go." As soon as she finished speaking, she led Yi Xian out of the city. They just left the city when an enormous demon beast suddenly swooped down from the sky. It was a completely pitch-black dragon that was over 10 kilometers long. As soon as it appeared, an extremely terrifying dragon pressure swept over and seemed as if it intended to crush the entire Devil City. The entire Devil City was shocked. But for some unknown reason, not a single expert had appeared in the city. Yi Xian gazed at the black dragon and was extremely shocked in his heart. Because the black dragon's cultivation had surpassed the heavenly Tao realm. Not only had its cultivation surpassed the heavenly Tao realm, even its physical body had surpassed the heavenly Tao realm. Meanwhile, the black dragon suddenly slowed down and stopped when it was over 100 m away from Yi Xian and Mo Xiao Shuang. After that, it slowly knelt on the ground and pressed its head against the ground. Mo Xiao Shuang smiled and said, "Let's go." As she spoke, she led Yi Xian up to the dragon's head, and then they moved up the dragon's back. Yi Xian glanced at Mo Xiao Shuang. It was obvious that this woman hadn't been bragging earlier. She really had the ability to destroy this devil city. At the same time, he secretly put up his guard. It was obvious that this devil city wasn't as simple as it seemed. Devil City's main hall. At this moment, Vast Ming and the other experts were staring at a demonic old man at the entrance of the main hall. The old man wore a black robe and was skinny. He held a sheathed longsword in his right hand. When there was a commotion in the sky above Devil City, they wanted to go out but were stopped by this old man. In front of this old man, there were over 10 corpses. Among them, 3 were Heavenly Tao realm experts. Vast Ming stared at the old man. "Who are you?" The old man in the black robe didn't speak. He turned around and left. When he walked out of the main hall, he suddenly slashed with his sword. Chi! The sword landed and the main hall was directly split into 2. However, the sword chi didn't dissipate and continued forward for thousands of miles. In an instant, the entire Devil City was directly split into 2. The old man in the black robe looked coldly at the Devil City below. "Young Master Yi is my master's honored guest. If you dare to find trouble with him again, you will all die." After saying that, he directly rode on his sword and disappeared into the horizon. Along with him, the man with the saber from before also disappeared. Below, Vast Ming and the rest looked at the horizon in a daze. In the horizon, the devil dragon flew through the sky at an extremely fast speed. On the back of the devil dragon, Yi Xian suddenly asked, "Miss Xiao Shuang, I'm actually a little curious. I'm curious how I can help you." Mo Xiao Shuang smiled, "Only you can help me." Yi Xian looked at Mo Xiao Shuang, "I'm getting more and more curious." Mo Xiao Shuang smiled, "You will know very soon." Yi Xian suddenly asked, "You won't scheme against me, right?" Mo Xiao Shuang blinked, "What do you think?" Yi Xian smiled, "To be honest, I'm a little afraid of being possessed or something." Mo Xiao Shuang laughed, "Young Master Yi, don't worry. I have no ill intentions towards you. What I want young Master Yi to help me with might be as difficult as ascending the heavens to others, but to young Master Yi, it's a piece of cake." Yi Xian chuckled, "Now that you say it like that, I'm even more curious." Mo Xiao Shuang smiled, and then she said, "We're here." As she spoke, she lightly stomped her right foot. The mystic dragon immediately stopped. Yi Xian looked into the distance. There was a huge mountain there. The entire mountain towered into the clouds, and it emitted a strange black mist. Mo Xiao Shuang smiled, "Let's go." As she spoke, she directly brought Yi Xian along and disappeared on the back of the devil dragon. As they approached the mountain, Yi Xian's expression gradually became solemn. Because he sensed an invisible pressure pressing down upon him, and the pressure grew stronger the closer they got. Meanwhile, a mysterious old man suddenly appeared before them. The old man raised his hands before him, and then he suddenly shook them forward, "Disperse." Bang! A powerful force swept out, and in an instant, that oppressive force was pushed back. The old man turned around and bowed slightly to Mo Xiao Shuang, and then he vanished silently. Another worldly realm expert. Yi Xian fell silent. Motherfucker. Are mortal realm experts like cabbages here? It didn't take long for them to appear on the mountain. Mo Xiao Shuang lightly stomped the ground with her right foot and smiled. Earlier, you asked me why the great demon lord vanished. Let me tell you now, he isn't dead. He's sealed beneath here. Yi Xian said, the green-clothed man? Mo Xiao Shuang smiled, yes. Yi Xian said to himself, shit. Right at this moment, the ground before them split apart, and then a figure appeared before them. Great Demon Lord. The Great Demon Lord looked at Yi Xian, the same bloodline, you are his son. Yi Xian hurriedly said, every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. The matter between you and him has nothing to do with me. The mysterious man stared at Yi Xian and said, a son must pay for his father's debt. Is there a problem? Yi Xian was speechless. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.